lips.
Oo. Oh,
Patingin nga
May
ng
alam kang
bebot mo.
podcast, Ben, na pwedeng pakinggan.
Bebot. Ang ganda.
Ganda. Ikaw, inspired by the one and only Jolina Magdangan.
Correct.
Chuva, 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 chu-chu.
Parang,
Chuva, chu-chu. O, diba? Ang
Ganon.
cute! Alam mo, nakakamiss yung gantong era, ha?
diba?
Yung mga ganyang paklip-klip pa.
Paramihan ng butterfly clips.
Parang-
Sikat ka.
Dati na-mention natin, di ba? Mayaman ka.
Mayaman.
Pag yung basurahan mo ay maganda. Dati, ang sukatan ng yaman, kung gaano karami yung pin na meron ka
Correct.
sa ulo mo.
Correct. At saka pag yung classmate mo, laging maayos yung buhok. Wow.
Mm-mm. Mayaya.
Mayaman siya.
Socialite.
Oo, grabe. May classmate.
Socialite ka agad.
May classmate ako nun yung mga ipit-ipit niya.
Hi, Sir Yalagay Tol.
Hi,
And
Bami.
it's been a year since I've last uploaded an episode here on Spotify, and since I actually recorded a podcast episode, and ang dami nangyari. And I'm sure na hindi lang sa buhay ko, pero lalo-lalo na sa buhay mo. No? And wala, namiss ko lang magsalita. Namiss lang kita kausapin. Lalo na yung mga listeners ko dito sa Spotify, yung mga active listeners ko. Na hanggang ngayon, even though isang taon na akong wala, patuloy pa rin sumusuport sa akin. Nandiyan sa DMs ko palagi. Minsan yan, nasa email ko pa. And ang point ko lang dito sa comeback, actually, hindi ko pa masasabing comeback kasi I'm not at my best pa. Pero, pahapyaw pa lang to. Okay na marami nating pagsasamahan ulit. Papainggan nyo ulit. And sana, hindi kayo magsawa na supportahan ako, napakinggan ako, even though kakabalik ko lang, magsawa agad. And, ang galing lang, sobrang galing lang kasi kahit hindi tayo madalas magkausap, kahit hindi na tayo nagkakausap, diyan pa rin yung connection. And sabi nga nila, kapag mahal mo naman talaga, kapag masaya ka naman talaga sa isang bagay, babalik at babalikan mo talaga. And yun yung gusto ko pag-usapan tonight. Para to sa lahat ng tao na hindi na nila alam kung ano yung gusto nilang mangyari sa buhay nila. Hindi na nila alam kung ano na yung gusto nila ma-achieve. Hindi na nila alam yung direction na dapat nilang tahakin. Like, sobrang labo na nung dreams, nung pangarap, nung vision na meron sila before. Like, yung gana wala na. Yung excitement wala na. Yung pag-look forward, wala na.
Hi, everyone.
Woke up one day finding themselves na I just want to stay in the bed all day. Tinatamad akong
Sorry.
bumangon, tinatamad akong
Gumagawa ko ng
mag-isip
schedule
ko
ng
sa araw na to.
stuff
This is an episode for those
namin.
people who are having a hard time
as a
finding themselves,
not
finding
head
their
nurse.
purpose, finding
Char.
the right thing for them to do. Kasi feeling ko, we all lost our direction once na, alam mo yun, wala na yung spark. Wala na yung motivation. So, kapal naman ang mukha ko pag-usapan to. Kahit ako mismo yung nawalan ng motivation.
Hi,
Ako mismo yung nawalan ng passion sa
Rebecca.
isang bagay. Pero kaya ako nga kayo kinakausap. Kasi gusto ko rin makarelate sa inyo. Okay? Gusto ko magka-relate tayo
Hi,
dito,
Rebecca.
magkaintindihan tayo. And I'm sure we are all sharing the same thing. We are the fire. First, nakakamiss naman to.
Wait.
Na sa work mo, sa energy ba, sa pera ba, sa time ba. Alam nyo, sa dami-rami na pwede natin sisihin. Ibang tao, boss natin, teacher natin, tatay natin, nanay natin, mga kapatid natin. Dami natin pwede sisihin, sa totoo lang. Yung buhay na to, yung kahirapan, yung poverty, na kinagisnan mo, nalilakihan mo. Pero feeling ko, wala naman dapat talagang ibang sisihin kundi sarili natin. Alam nyo, ito okay lang naman, super okay lang naman i-blame yung sarili natin kasi to be honest, dyan nagsisimula yung accountability.
Yep.
No, dyan nagsisimula yung pagtitik natin ng responsibility sa mga ginagawa. Pagtitik natin ng responsibility sa mga ginagawa natin. Pero kasi minsan, mali. Madalas pala mali. Mali yung pag-blame natin sa sarili natin to the point na sinisisi natin yung sarili natin on everything that has gone wrong for our life. Lahat ng pagkakamali, lahat ng, alam niyo yun, rough patches sa buhay natin. Ang sisi sa sarili natin lagi. Kaya feeling ko, nawawalan tayo ng purpose, nawawalan tayo ng redirection sa buhay natin kasi we often blame ourselves for all of the things, for all of the bad things actually that is happening to
Hi,
us.
Erickson.
Pag may masamang nangyari kahit hindi naman natin kasalanan,
Welcome sa aking
sinisisi natin
live.
yung sarili natin. For example, hindi mo naman kasalanan na hindi mo na-pursue yung gusto mo talagang course. Kasi nga, wala talagang pang-tuition. Ang sisi sa sarili mo
Yeah.
instead na sa family, instead na sa buhay mo. What I'm trying to say is, kung gaano kalaki yung magpapahalaga
Baka may
natin
mare-recommend kayo dyang
sa
podcast na
gusto
pwede
nating
pakinggan
mangyari
no
sa buhay
habang
natin, sa gusto
gumagawa
nating
ako ng
maabot, ganun din
schedule
kalaki yung,
ng mga
alam mo
ka-work
yun,
ko.
yung balik ng pagsisi mo
Para
sa sarili
naman
mo, ng pag-blame mo sa sarili
Hindi ako
mo, which is, I think, wrong.
nabuburyong sa
Which is,
paggawa
I
dito at
want to
tapusin ko
change
to.
that you need to change as well na hindi lahat ng masama nangyayari sa buhay mo, ikaw may kasalanan. Okay, hindi lahat ng failure dapat mo i-conceptualize as failure. Hindi lahat ng pagkatapa, hindi lahat ng pagkakamali dapat mong i-categorize or i-conceptualize again as mistakes. We often label things.
Opo, hindi lang
We
halata.
often label ourselves as this, as that. We label ourselves as a failure. Nilalabelan natin yung sarili natin as someone na walang mararating, as someone hanggang dito na lang, as someone that has finally reached his pure potential. Alam mo, walang limit. Walang limit kung as long as feeling ko ipupush mo yung sarili mo. Kasi, again, tayo lang din naman nagle-label sa sarili natin na, shit, hanggang dito lang ako, na shit, hanggang dito lang yung kaya ko. I think we need to stop that, no? We need to stop labeling ourselves as someone na, alam mo yun, as someone na hanggang dito na lang, as someone
Apo, sa
wala na
hospital
mararating,
po.
as someone na sinasabi nila, as someone na nagpapadala sa sinasabi ng paligid niya. Actually, minsan wala naman sila sinasabi. Yung boses ba? Yung boses sa utak natin, yung boses na tayo lang nakarinig. Sila lang din nagsasabi na hanggang dito ka lang, hanggang ganito lang kaya mong gawin, hindi mo matatapos yung gantong bagay, hindi ka makapagtapos, or kung mapagtapos ka man, wala. Sana lahat ng contradiction na binibigay mo sa self mo, mapalitan ng affirmation, no? And that is what I'm trying to do right now. I'm actually talking to myself and I'm actually talking to you. And I want you to talk to yourself, okay? Kung gaano kadali para sa'yo magbigay ng contradiction sa sarili mo.
Hi, Teresita.
Ganun din kadali sa'yo, no? Na magbigay ng affirmation. Na instead of saying na hanggang dito ka lang, tell yourself na hindi ka hanggang dito lang, no? Na every time you fail, there's always a next time. Alam mo, pwede ka magbigay ng contradiction and then an affirmation afterwards. For example, every time you fail, there's always a next time. Every time na madadapa ka, pwede ka bumangon ulit. Every time na mauulog ka, pwede ka umakyat ulit. Diba? Laging may labanan kasi walang tutulong sa'yo eh. No, wala naman tutulong sa'yo. When you are alone at night, at your bed, or even at the corner of your room, wala naman biglang mo show.
Bawal po.
Sasabihin
Bawal
sa'yo,
po yan.
sasabihin sa'yo na gaganda na buhay mo. Na bukas, magiging okay na lahat. Wala. Sarili lang talaga natin. And sarili lang natin yung gumagawa ng monsters. And sarili lang natin gumagawa ng demons inside our heads. It's always the battle against ourselves. And it's the hardest one. It is really the hardest one.
227.
And I hope, itong buong concept din ng sinasabi ko, ito yung concept ng silent battles na matagal ko itong sinasabi. Kasi nga, wala namang nakakarinig. Walang nakakarinig pero napakaingay. Walang nakakaalam pero napakalawak. Walang
No, I'm
tutulong
not.
sa'yo pero napakabigat. No, and it's been an emotional episode. And wala, para ko lang kayo sinampal na kalungkutan na. Pero yun nga, I just want to affirm you na there are burdens that are meant to be shared. Kasi parang ano lang yan eh, parang dumbbell lang yan na binubuhat mo. Minsan kailangan mo ng spotter. Minsan kailangan mo ng tutulong sa'yo, not in the way na siya yung mag-aayos, but susuportahan niya. Like for example, nagbe-bench press ka, sino mga nag-gym dito. No? Nag-bench press ka, for example, you are squatting. Di ba hindi naman totally binubuhat ng spotter mo yung bigat. Nandiyan lang siya to support you. And that's what I'm trying to say na maybe it's time for you to share. Maybe it's time for you to open up, for you to realize that not all of the burdens are meant to be solved by your own self. Some burdens are meant to be shared and some burdens are may mga tao na ready saluhin ka. Hindi ka lang kasi hindi ka lang nagsasalita. No? And ayun, kaya ito na siguro yung sign for all of us to open up our deepest desires, our passion that has been buried long time ago. Maybe it's time, no? Maybe it's time for you to get up. It's time for you to be inspired once again, to be motivated once again. And yeah, it's really cool.
Ito na lang. Hindi ko naiintindihan yung mga sinasabi.
Lagi kang ano eh. Ikaw na magkwento. Ang guest natin ngayon, napakagaling.
Ito pala pakiramdam na nag-trend. Yo, Dek-Dek nga pala, asawa at tatay.
Deserve talaga ni Dek-Dek as bilang isang rising nurse content creator.
Siyempre, nasa UK ako. So, maraming makikurious na ano kaya ang buhay asawa sa UK.
So, bakit UK?
Grabe pala mga tanong dito. Meron kasi akong, dito ko sasabihin. Meron akong,
Paano naman pumasok yung content creation?
Oo, yun talaga ang gusto naming malaman, Dek.
ang ironic dahil kung ano pa yung pinaka-iniiwasan
Ayaw
ko, doon pa ako nilapit ng faith. Ang sabi, kapag pumutok yung content, sundan mo ng similar. Para yung momentum, tuloy-tuloy. Gawa ulit ako. Naniniwala ako sa sa universal laws. Universal laws ako makinig ha. Pagdating sa universal laws, meron akong dalawang kinakapitan dyan. Law of attraction at saka law of divine order. At wala na, the rest is history.
What's up, Nurse Squad? This is Sage Manto, your digital nurse from London.
And I'm EJ Abarientos, your nurse photographer in the UK.
And this is a show created by nurses for nurses. This is the
Nurse Show! Grabe bro, naalala ko pa dati, dalawa lang followers natin sa Facebook.
Yes.
Papasalamat kami sa lahat ng sumusuporta sa The Nurse Show. Pero, mas marami pa rin yung followers ng poser na digital nurse.
As in, grabe. Parang times 2 sa followers ko, bro. Pero,
Oh.
guys, so just want you to know.
Ito po kasi,
gamit yung Sage
head nurse
Manto.
talaga gumagawa
Wala.
nito, pero
Hindi ko ako yun. Kasi yung totoong account ko, at Sage Manto. sa
tinatry
Facebook,
nila kami gumawa
Instagram, and TikTok.
ng skill.
Pero bro, alam mo ba, ang guest
Ano
natin
naman?
ngayon, napakagaling.
Pero, goods lang naman.
Napakagaling.
Medyo masakit lang siya sa ulo.
October siya gumawa ng mga nursing skills.
October last year lang, no?
Oh, last year lang. Nakita ko talaga yung
Yung growth, di ba?
And I'm sure, madaming excited.
Marami nakakilala sa kanya.
Para makarating sa story niya.
So, wag na tayong patumpik-tumpik.
Wait.
Yes, so let's...
Ayan.
Yan,
Ayan.
yan, di ba?
Grabe bro, sa Facebook ko lang ito nakakita si Dek-Dek ngayon in person.
Ako din.
Ako din, nakita ko lang kayo sa Facebook. Tsaka sa YouTube.
Nakaka-starstruck din pag nakikita mo si Dek, no? Kasi, di ba? Kasi pag mga fellow content creator, bro, na tina-follow mo, tapos pag nakita mo in person,
Iba yung feeling. Yeah. Tama, nakakatuwa.
Parang may connection, parang may
April
sense of
2
like,
and
we share the same passion. Parang gano'n.
Sa akin, medyo lutang episode. Lutang moment pa ako ngayon dahil nga, nakita lang kita pag doon sa digital nursing. And then nakikita kita doon sa photography mo, AJ Naro. Tsaka nung nag-start na yung The Nurse Show, wala pa siguro halos nanonood sa akin doon. Dumadaan na kayo sa feed ko eh. Kaya, yun, thank you sa opportunity. Tsaka pupogi nyo. Nakakaingay.
Wala. Wala, di ako pwede mapatugtog. Stop that. Mag-YouTube na nga lang ako. May gumagamit ng account ko. Ano bang podcast? Gusto ko podcast.
And so I came to the realization, wala pala akong boundaries, especially with my family, especially with my loved ones. And what that looked like was that I was very loved ones. And what that looked like was that I was very agreeable, and I think I feared being disliked or rejected or unloved because I would set a boundary for myself.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode
In
of
fairness,
the Very Odd
nakakaduling
Podcast.
talaga,
Joining
no?
me today is a global advocate, artist, and creative force who continues to turn her platform
Sakto lang
into
naman
purpose.
po.
We
Di
have
naman
Miss
ganun
Universe
kahirap yung work
2018,
namin.
Catriona Gray!
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Very Odd!
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you here. Like,
Thank you.
sabi ko nga, ito na yung mga I made it moments namin. The past week that we had like, you, Echo, I was like, shit, we made it, guys! We freaking made it! I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Guys, may sakit na siya sa lagay na to. Sa lahat ng may sakit, ganito kaganda.
It's the makeup, guys. Don't be fooled.
Extra blush lang to. Energy, ang ganda niya. Sana pag lang may sakit tayo, ganito rin tayo, no? Okay, so we have you today because you have a movie that's coming out.
I know.
Actually, it's out na. Today. It's out today.
Yes! In cinemas nationwide, everyone. The Loved One.
Grabe. So, this is your first film.
Ever.
So, what made you say yes to this film?
Ooh, it's a few different factors, I have to say. Because I have been offered to take part in different films, teleseries, and projects before. Pero siguro, as a combination of things. Like, one, I didn't want to go in there feeling like I'm unprepared. I also want to feel like I can do the role justice and I'm not just there as a token, like beauty queen, let's throw her in there
Yes,
for the
yes,
buzz, ganon. So it just so happens that I already have a relationship with the director, si Direk
Direk
Irene. She's really wonderful and I really admire her as a creative and her craft. And when it was pitched to me, she sat me down and talked about just the concept of the loved one. And it wasn't even the script yet. And when I heard about it, I was like, this is a really interesting take on a love story, something that I haven't really seen or heard before. And then, so I was already open. And then when I had read the script and I was offered the part of Nicole, so funny that the name of my character is also the name of my best friend. So I was like, sis, I don't talaga kita.
It's a sign.
Yes.
It's a sign.
Oh, and so when I read the script, I was like, this is really going to challenge me. And siguro, that's something that I wanted to open myself up to. Because I think in the work that I am blessed to be able to do now, like in terms of doing events and hosting, etc., I feel very much inside my comfort zone. I feel comfortable with my capabilities in those areas. But in acting, I really don't have that same feeling. So, siguro ang sarap to feel china-challenge ang sarili ko in a medium that I can also learn so much in. Because acting is not just portraying a character, but it's also like channeling your emotions through a lens of another person. So I'm like, that's so interesting. I've never done that before. Sige na nga, itry ko nga. And of course, when I heard about the cast, si
Yeah, my
Jericho
God.
and
Powerhouse
Anne,
cast
I'm
talaga.
like, wow, I'm so flattered to be considered, but also what incredible people to learn from in the process.
So how was the whole experience when you were shooting? What was your feeling the first time you stepped on set?
I was so nervous. As it so like there was a mix-up with the schedule of my makeup artist. So ako nagma-makeup for first taping day ko. And iniisip ko talaga, because I love doing my makeup,
Yes.
no? Laging ako nag-record ng mga get ready with me for my makeup. But I was really like, ano na nga ang mga film makeup? Kailangan ba super matte pa?
May ganong notion eh.
Oo, kailangan skin-like ba? Bawal ba ang mga false lashes? Paano nga? Hindi ko talaga alam. So, sana maganda talaga ang makeup ko dun sa mga scenes na yan. Pero, ang first scene ko, kasama ko kay Echo. And so, like, I've run into him just a few times at events, but we're not close or anything like that. So, and I really admire him in his craft. So, I was really nervous na siya ang tapat ko for my first ever scene. So, yeah, just that feeling of being a newbie, stepping into like a set where people are so seasoned to know what they're
Yes.
doing, you know? So it's just that feeling of being a newcomer, I guess, that really was a little bit intimidating for me. But I'm very thankful because Derek and sila Echo, they were very kind to me, like, and patient with me. I felt very walked through the process. I didn't feel like I was just thrown in there and then told swim or drown, up to you. Like, I felt very guided, and I'm very grateful for that because they didn't need to do that for me. But I just really appreciate that so much. And when I was able to finally finish that first taping day, yung team ko din was just like, congrats, Kat. And I was really feeling so fulfilled na parang I was able to overcome something that I was very unsure about and able to prove to myself na kaya ko pala yun. So that whole experience was really that kind of resonant messaging of kaya ko pala yun, kaya ko pala.
Yes.
Because I think many of us, when we're faced with something new that's outside of our comfort zone and we don't have experience, it's so easy to say like, ay,
Wag na
wag na lang.
nakatakot.
Oo, baka I won't be good at this.
Yeah.
Like, obviously I have no experience, but then you'll never know.
Yes. So is it the start? Are we gonna see more of you and the
Start
big
of something
screen?
new.
Is it the start of something new? Another career
I mean,
that adds to your roster of careers? Dami niya kasi ginagawa.
Yun na nga eh. Pick one, girl. Charot!
Wala.
Oh, yun na nga.
Artista Kat.
Yun na nga. But I guess I'm very open naman. Just as I was to this project, if I feel like I could play the role justice and I could resonate with the story, I'm definitely open. So if more opportunities come to be able to
Grab
do
it.
that, why not?
Yes, grab it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the title of this film is called The Loved One. So there's a question in this film. Are you the lover or the loved one?
Yeah.
So what is your perspective on being the lover and the loved one? And ano ka doon?
Oh, I think it's really interesting because it kind of sets up a relationship in that there's a one-way kind of giving and taking. But I honestly believe in a relationship, people switch roles.
Yeah.
Sometimes when one is like when your partner is doing well, maybe they'll give more and you'll like receive more, and then other times you'll step up and give when they need. So I feel like it's a role that's interchangeable,
Yeah.
but in this cuento, it's really kind of pushing a narrative na are you one or the either? But also in the movie, that's also questioned too, which is why I really liked it when it was explained to me by Derek, because I was like, yes, that's interesting. It'll make people think if they want to. It's also just a beautiful story on its own, but it does pose those kind of questions. The lover or the loved one, I feel like it mostly comes up perhaps in moments of trial, because there's been a saying that I've heard other people say that a relationship can survive as long as someone is fighting.
Yeah, I disagree
You've heard,
with that.
right?
Two has to fight.
Yun na
Can't
nga.
just one. Hindi pwedeng isa lang.
Yun na nga. So, but there are some people who really believe that.
Yeah.
As long as one person's hanging on, then my hope pa.
Why do you think? Why do you think that they feel that their love is enough, even if one is like, I don't want anymore?
I don't know. Maybe they're scared of what it looks like to have
Of the
that
life
relationship
after?
fall apart, or maybe it's a time investment. You've put years into that
Yeah.
person, into that marriage, into that family, or things like family, children who are involved.
sure.
Maybe you're in business together. You've built a life together. Maybe it's easier to hold on to something that's crumbling apart
Yes.
rather than facing what it looks like to
Yeah,
not have
yeah,
that
yeah.
person. So siguro we all have our own justifications of why people do things and don't do things. But I just think it's a very mature way to look at a love story, the loved one, that is portrayed in this film, because it's not a first love. Let's just give it all for love. It doesn't matter about the consequences. Like, this is a very mature take and perspective on like the different trials and things that come with a relationship that spans over 10 years. The relationship in this movie is 10 years long. So you're seeing each other grow together, grow apart, how that brings up different things. You reveal each other's different sides of your character, and maybe that wasn't there in the beginning, but now it's there now, and I think that's very realistic.
Yes, no, it's realistic because one. So ang ganda nung sinabi mo na dapat nagsiswitch ng rules. Hindi pwede. So ang ganda nung sinabi mo na dapat nagsiswitch ng rules. Hindi pwedeng isa lang yung nagmamahal tas yung isa receive lang ng receive. I love that. So I asked this kay Echo, do you think nowadays masama yung thought na, is it really bad if you're the loved one?
Um, hmm. Siguro it depends on the mindset of being a loved one. Do I think it's bad to be able to receive love? No. Because there are people who may have low self-esteem and be like, I'm not worth loving. Don't be close to me. That can be stemming from a wound. But if you're a loved one and you receive love, but then you're also able to reciprocate it, I think that's very healthy.
Yes.
But if you're a loved one that's just like, do all the
Tanggap
effort,
lang.
hahabo mo ako.
Yeah.
Like, ikaw na lang maggalaw dito, ako
Yeah.
dito na lang.
Yeah.
I mean,
relax lang ako dito.
which I think is also interesting. Some sort of reciprocal
Yeah.
effort. Some sort of reciprocal
Yeah.
effort rather than just taking it.
Yeah, I love that. You're gonna make a lot of people think. With just what you said, you're gonna make a lot of people think. Okay, so you had a podcast and you were talking about boundaries.
Yes.
And this is so important nowadays to know your boundaries and things. Not only with love, but life in general.
Absolutely.
So, what is your opinion on people that they have a hard time setting boundaries, especially, let's say, with work or their loved ones?
Yeah.
Or family, friends. Like, sometimes when you love someone so much, you tend to blur that boundary. It's like, it's okay. I'll take it. Tiisin ko na lang. Kasi, love naman kita eh.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The boundary is what's supposed to keep the respect in both sides of relationships.
Yeah.
So what's your take on, what's your advice to those who need to learn how to set their boundaries?
Yeah, I think we need to give people grace for feeling uncomfortable in the setting of the boundary itself because it is a hard thing to do, mas lalo tayo mga Pinoy. It can feel like a very confrontational thing to do or perhaps selfish or medyo abrasive.
Yeah.
To be like, no, hanggang dito lang ako.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to loved ones, when it comes to career, because I think we're so normalized to not having boundaries modeled out to us. And when they're not modeled out to us, we don't have like a map of what it looks like. So, like you said, boundaries are a way that we can kind of show up in a way that we keep the respect of ourselves intact. And then we allow people to respect us in turn. So,
Yeah.
for example, like the both of us, if in a friendship, and if it was like I'm having a really hard time at work, and I just can't spend this much time after work hanging out because I have to go home and do extra stuff. That's expressing a boundary to you as a friend. But if you're like, no, sige na nga, let's go, let's
Yeah.
stay out, then you're giving me information of how you're not respecting my boundary. Right? So I can allow that boundary to be crossed, but then perhaps, I might have a seed of resentment there. Or I'm going to
Yes.
pay the consequence later. I'm going to be
Yeah.
tired. I'm not going to meet deadlines. And so I'm still walking out the consequence of having that boundary and not being held in place. So it can look like a lot of different things around money. It's a really
Yes.
prominent thing here in our culture.
And it tends to get crossed a lot.
Absolutely. And like you said, like in the name of love, in the name of being a good daughter, a good spouse, a good family member, it can feel like this is my duty as
A daughter,
as
a
a daughter.
son.
Yeah. To provide, to give what I can, even if I don't have enough. It can feel very honorable. It can feel like something that's even applauded in spaces like, oh, grabe naman ang anak
Yeah,
ko.
ang bait-bait mo naman.
Yes. Or if you don't do it, like, ang grabe naman to. Talagang selfish eh.
Yes. Parang, alam mo, we had this topic before and I was really like crucified online for having that opinion because I really said like, if you want to give, you're gonna give it. Like it shouldn't be required. Like
Yes.
for me, required kasi such a big word na parang hindi na siya out of the goodness of your heart. Kailangan mo to gawin kasi kailangan mo siyang gawin. Hindi dahil gusto mo siyang gawin.
Exactly.
May difference. So, I love that we're talking about boundaries because then we can actually tell people that it's okay to have boundaries.
Yeah.
Filipinos are actually afraid of boundaries.
Very. And especially, I think it also interfolds with our tendency to be non-confrontational and people pleasers. We're very passive. We're not very like, vocal and abrasive. For example, when I lived in New York, talagang medyo nagulat ako because I was like, wow,
Prangka talaga sila
they
lahat.
really just say how they feel. And as a Filipino, I'm just like, oh, okay.
Nahihiya pa sila. Oo, pag dito.
Oo. So it really is something that I hope can be talked about more, because even though we do applaud each other for being, oh, ang bait niyo naman, sobrang generous. But if you look deeper, the kind of burden that is carried by the people who overgive, not for a sense like you said, out of the goodness of your heart because they feel obligated or that they must, I honestly believe grows resentment. Or
Agreed.
it grows angst against your
Yes.
loved ones. And I think that really harms the relationship.
Yes.
Where you create a relationship in your family that's not there, that's reciprocal and loving and relational, but it's more like, I have an obligation to give. I just have to, I don't want to.
Yeah.
It changes the position of your heart.
Yeah, and you kind of not, especially when you're working and you have to give, parang hindi mo na nai-enjoy yung ginagawa mo because you know where the money is going or you know where this certain effort is going na, okay, so this is what I'm doing right now, this is, majority of it is going somewhere and not to you. So it tends to, parang there's resentment and you also feel like, what about me?
Yes.
Diba? There's always a question na, when can I take care of myself? Diba? And it's so important to also take care of yourself. That's what we always tell, actually, whenever I have an episode. Don't forget yourself.
Absolutely.
It's okay to choose yourself sometimes. And I love that you're here.
From a cup that's empty. And again, there's that whole like an honoring of being a martyr, like giving and giving and giving. You'll even see it reflected in our productivity culture.
Yes.
Like we laud people like, oh yeah, you slept 2 hours last night and worked 12. Oh my God, ang galing! But no, why are we applauding that? Like that's not healthy. You know what I mean? The suffering, people who are living lives that they're not happy about. You know, so I think we really have to take an inner look and to say like, okay, it may look selfish in the beginning because it's not a usual thing for us, mas lalo mga Pinoy. But if you're able to give to yourself and then give out of the overflow of that, it's so much more joyous.
Yeah.
The positioning of your heart is in such a better place. And your family, your relationships, your workplace, they will benefit from that positioning of your heart because you'll work with more joy.
Stop ng live
still
if
give.
nag-i-stop
Or
sa inyo.
on the
Kasi
other side of that, we
nagtsatsa ka
end
ng-
up traversing our lives with so
ng
many relationships that are
convo.
transactional in nature.
Sorry na.
And that's really sad.
Sakshit. Feeling ko ang tanga ko right now.
Okay. That I lost a sense of self-respect because I would overgive and I'd end up feeling empty or I'd feel resentful or I'd put out expectations with my giving that would never be reciprocated.
Yes.
But like in my mind, it's like, if you gave this to me, so the reason that it's a form of kindness is, in a way, it's a kindness to yourself because if you're not able to have that self-respect, you will really feel dragged.
Yes. You'll hate yourself.
Yeah, and it might not look so black and white, like, ay, wala akong self-respect, like, night and day. Like, it can be the subtleties that
Yeah.
just build up over time. Like, for example, I was 31 years old or 30 years old when I realized that I don't have boundaries. Like, I went through 30 years of my life not knowing how to practice healthy boundaries. And even now that I am aware of it, it's still like a practice that I'm trying to learn as I go. But I've realized that I'm able, now that I'm aware, to show up more authentically as myself because I have that boundary to say like, okay, this is how far I can show up for you. I want to know how far you can show up for me.
Yes.
If there needs to be a compromise, let's have a conversation about that. And it just gives me so much ease. I'm less anxious. I feel like I understand the other person better, and I feel like boundaries in that communication allow them to understand me better. And so I feel truly seen. And there's something so beautiful and healing about feeling seen by another person in your wholeness. Not just these little tidbits of like what I'm projecting to you or what I think you want to hear, but you're really seeing me authentically. And so my relationships, my friendships, my relationships with my family, they have reached a level over the last 2 years in authenticity, in a level of genuineness that I don't think that I've experienced before.
So you said it took you 30 years to learn to set boundaries or to have boundaries. What was the turning point? What made you think that I need to set some boundaries? I don't have boundaries. Like, what made you actually want or realize that I need to do something about this?
Yeah, unfortunately for me, it was the fallout of a really painful breakup. And when I went into therapy, one, it was because of the fallout of that, but also because I just felt very lost and empty as a person. Because I think I had been in this tendency of overgiving all the time, like all aspects of myself, that I forgot to reserve things for me. And so when I found myself single again, I think there was a lot of navigating of like, okay, so who am I?
You felt so drained.
I felt drained, and I've also felt the lines of where I was as an individual were kind of demolished.
Yeah.
Because I had just not allowed spaces for myself, even with my friends, even with my own hobbies and my own interests. Like, I'm the type of person, well, was before, that when I'm in love, like, I will really give. And I always associated a sacrificial nature of love. Like, you
That's what you do when you love someone.
exactly, and you have a joy about that while you're in it, but then in the fallout of it,
You think that
yun na
there's a
nga.
joy.
Yun na nga. And so, without those boundaries and in the fallout of it, I was like, I don't really know where to even start. Like, I feel whiplash in a way that it's not even just the fallout from a relationship, but also the fallout of a relationship with myself, that I did not
An identity
look
crisis.
after myself in that process of being in the relationship. I didn't leave things for myself. So that was really the turning point for me.
Because sometimes something really, it's so sad that sometimes something really bad has to happen for you to realize
Yeah.
these things, right? Like, why can't we just know these things? Why do bad things have to happen for us to realize that this is what we have to do to be better people?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes also, like, I'm quite spiritual, so like I really feel like God will knock quietly first to get you to pay attention, and when you don't listen, he knocks a little louder, and then when you don't pay attention, he knocks even louder.
Yes.
So then it reaches a point like, okay, I'll listen now.
Okay, fine, Lord. I'll listen to you. Or what they say that is when you ask for God's protection in all aspects of your life, like your heart, your mind, and everyone around you, you have to be prepared for what you're asking for. Because
Yeah.
if you ask God, like, Lord, remove everything that's not part of my growth and remove everything that's not going to make me a better person, you have to be prepared for that prayer. Because
Oh yeah.
the people He might remove in your life will surprise you. Like, you won't know who they are, but if when they do go away, or when they do like leave your life, you'll be like, really? This person? Like, right?
And that pruning season hits. Like, that's a very powerful prayer to pray. But God always knows best.
Yes.
And in our limited ability to see what's in front of us, it's not gonna make sense a lot of the time. But like eventually it will. But I think that's the walk of faith that you have to kind of put yourself through, is just trust the process. But it can
Yeah.
be really difficult for sure.
Yeah. So in terms of this movie, The Loved One, what do you think in a relationship? You said the two main cast here was together for 10 years. So what you naman on your personal, like, let's say sa advice mo, let's say it happens to us. We've been in many relationships na long term. So when do you think you should know, like, okay, this is my boundary in this relationship. Parang nako-cross na yung boundary. Parang nawawala na ako sa sarili ko, or parang I'm choosing this person every day and I'm not choosing myself anymore. What do you think has to be done for something? Kasi minsan yun ang turning point, to save the relationship or to go your separate ways. With this one, well, because we haven't seen the film eh. Sabi nga ni Echo, dapat talaga pinapanood muna sa akin to eh. Ay nako. So when do you think you should have that conversation with your partner? Is that really a make or break conversation? And how prepared do you have to be to enter this conversation?
Oh, I think it looks different case to case basis. But like honestly, ideally, even before you get into a relationship, I think you already need to have the mindset that this is not the person to complete me. Because it's always fantasized to us, no, in these love stories, na parang, this is the person make all my dreams come true. They
Yes.
complete me. I am incomplete without them. And that's just the wrong mindset to be in, because a person will always disappoint you because they're human. I mean, like, no one is going to fit you perfectly, or make up for your lack in certain things. Like, you're two individuals, and I've always thought the healthiest way to get into a relationship is you see yourself as having a full, rich life as an individual. Your partner has a full, rich life as an individual.
Yeah.
And when you come together, you have things to share
Yes.
together.
Yes.
You're not looking to complete each other.
Yes.
I think that would be really healthy if you find yourself in a dynamic already that you feel like there's unequal give and take, or it's not reciprocal, or you're feeling built up resentment because you feel like you're giving, and your partner's just unaware or taking it for granted, etc. I think the sooner that you can have the conversation, the better. If you're unable to make leeway on that conversation between the both of you, having a counselor or a therapist or a trusted friend, or maybe a church mate that you trust to kind of moderate those
Yes.
conversations can be really helpful, because sometimes someone looking from the outside in can give you insight that maybe you're not able to get from each other. If you're just gonna tiis it and like try and just like, we'll figure it out eventually, I think you're just
I think
prolonging
that's
the
what makes-
inevitable,
Yeah, I think that's what makes a relationship really toxic, when you're really afraid to speak up about the things that you're already seeing, or the patterns that you're already seeing in relationships, and you don't call it out.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a big thing, and then instead of you having a conversation, the relationship just ends, and you have so much anger because you didn't get to voice it out. So I love that you said that you should have that conversation entering that relationship already. If we're on the same page, if this is where we think this is headed, we're not playing games here.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a fresh perspective, because I think love now is you just take that leap and then bahala na what happens.
Oh, but I
diba?
feel like that's a very first love, like
Yes.
high emotion way. But when yung mga trentahin na love story, ha?
Parang wag
Wala
na
na
gawin
ganon. Mas informed decision dapat.
Parang wag na ganon.
Oo, and I think also, just a tidbit also that has been really insightful in my own life, and I learned this through therapy. But like, if you're aware of the dynamic that you grew up with at home, for example, your parents or the people who modeled out what relationships look like to you, and if you can identify certain patterns or tendencies within that you maybe model out yourself, it's great to have an awareness of that before you go into a relationship. Because I found in my past relationships before going through therapy, I was happily sitting in these patterns that weren't necessarily healthy but just look very familiar to me,
Yeah.
because of the relationships that were modeled out to me as a child. So there's also grace to be given there for people who perhaps are within a dynamic that they're not even aware of because
Yes.
it looks familiar.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we had that topic the last episode. It's called the burning house theory. It's like your childhood becomes the blueprint of your entire life. Like whatever model or whatever example, experience, or whatever was taught to you when you were young. It's something that unconsciously, when we grow up, we kind of, okay, that's love. That's the idea of love, because this is what we're used to. Or
Yes.
this pattern, my family used to, my parents used to do this. So maybe this is what I should get myself into.
yes.
And like, I think dapat nga yung burning house, no, sa kanya natin siya inano. So, okay, so can I ask you about that? Like, so what's your take on this? So your entire life, you think that this is, ito na lang yun. Parang this is what I'm used to, this is what I grew up in, so this is supposed to be my life. So, what's your take on the people that are stuck there?
Yeah.
Because they fear that if they step out of that comfort zone, that's your comfort zone, that's what you're used to, that's
No,
where you grew up.
absolutely.
So what's your advice to those who needs to take that step out of the comfort zone to actually see a better life, to have a better life?
Yeah, I think you shouldn't orientate your path on whatever's comfortable, because the funny thing is, with our brains as human beings, what our brain associates as safe is not necessarily what's better, but more so what's familiar. So like, you'll stay in patterns or in relationships or in places that feel familiar, and that will equal safe to you.
Yes.
Which seems
Love that.
contradictive, no? Pero that's really how our psychology works. Wow, parang psychologist. Please
Kaya
quote
nga
my
eh.
source.
Parang therapy session nga to sa akin eh.
And so when I kind of understood that, it gave me a lot of grace for people, because sometimes we see stories from the outside of people who stay in abusive relationships or stay in toxic households, and we're like, just get out. Like, what are you waiting for?
It's so easy to say.
It's so easy to say, but I think when you're in the dynamic and perhaps they've had the life experiences that those people have had, it's just not that easy to do. And sometimes there are children involved and just other different things. But if we were to orientate ourselves on like whatever feels comfortable, I feel like that's the wrong way to go. So I think the first step is like be able to talk to someone about it. It could be a trusted friend or a therapist. a church counselor, whoever feels comfortable and is available to you, because sometimes we cannot have the eyes to see our situation for what it is. I think some of us have experienced being isolated in a dynamic or a relationship or a household where if not for someone just asking like, okay na ba dun? Or like, is how do you feel about that? That's not normal or that's not okay.
Nobody asks us that normally.
Yun na nga. So without those questions or like someone to kind of probe gently, yeah, you won't think it or you won't see it.
Yeah.
So that's really important, and that's also, I guess, a message to those of us who are friends of people who you may think are not in healthy situations. Like, we should check in on them, even if it's not in an abrasive way of like, ano ba talaga nang nangyari dun sa loob ng bahay nyo? But more of like, how are you doing? Like, I noticed that your mood's a little bit off. Do you want to talk about it? You could just be gently leading that person to see things from a perspective that perhaps they could not. And then also, you really need support to make the move to get out of an environment like that. And it's really unfortunate to say, but a lot of people don't have support in terms of like close family or friends.
Or they're scared to ask for help.
Yeah, or that as well. And it's a vulnerable place to put yourself in. So I would really just advise like try to find support where it's available. Really pray about it. Surround yourself with a community, and I just hope that you'll be able to find your way out of that dynamic, or at least to a place where you can then work with the other people within that dynamic to hopefully make it healthier.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people who send messages on the podcast that they don't have, the resources or they don't have the support to actually help them get through it. So they suffer in silence or they just keep it inside or they want to end it. Like, it's so sad to read comments like that because, you wish to help everybody, but then you really can't.
Yeah.
It's you wish to advise properly or we always say surround yourself with the right people, because when you surround yourself with the right people, you'll be advised properly or someone will listen to you. But then it's so easy for us to say it because we're not in the receiving end of things. So parang at this point, what we can only do is just try to help them get through it by our platforms, which you have used beautifully over the years. Like, I think you've been an advocate to so many things, and I think you went beyond being our Miss Universe. You went through advocating so many social issues. Like, you're always front and center.
Thank you.
And as pwede naman kasi na hindi mo na gawin yun but you always feel that responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that really like, did you really grow up like that? Na parang very outspoken ka talaga? Talaga? Were you a shy girl
I'm
growing up?
super shy. I'm actually an introvert.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my.
I'm actually an introvert. When I was growing up, I was very soft-spoken and shy because we moved around a lot. So I was always the new girl in school. And so I had a hard time making friends. I was very withdrawn.
Yeah.
I don't think it was until I was an adult that I felt comfortable in being more outspoken. But even so, I think it more stems from I've always orientated myself that I need a bigger reason for why I do things. Different people are motivated by different means, but for me, like, motivation for gain for myself is not enough. Like, I've always needed to feel like I'm contributing in a larger way.
Yeah.
So, siguro that's the overflow of, like, when I speak up, when I advocate, it's all stemming from that core value of mine. Yeah. And I just think I'm very grateful to be surrounded by a team and people who share that same vision, which is why I really love the work that I do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm able to make a difference, even if it's just to a few people.
Yes.
It feels substantial. And yeah.
Grabe, tapos pag nagpa-public speaking ka, parang tagal mo ito ginagawa. Alam mo yun? Yung parang hindi ka naman shy girl. Parang sobrang confident mo lagi. So parang nagulat, introvert ka pala.
Oo.
So during your times that you're not working, you're really a homebody.
I'm really a homebody. I am such a lola personified. Like, my friends know this about me. Like, I really enjoy just like simple things in life. Like, I enjoy going out for good food, drinking good coffee, being in nature. Like, I'm just a really simple girl.
I love that though, because they expect you to be a lot of things because you're Miss Universe. And I love that parang na-normalize, na-humanize ka bigla. Kasi diba they see you as like as an icon, like, and then when you hear this, it's like, oh my God, she's just like the rest of us. She also likes to stay home at this age. Yeah, yeah, at this age, parang ayaw mo nang lumalabas, ayaw mo nang pumaparty. I love that, I love to hear. Parang na-humanize ka sa akin. I love it. Parang normal din pala siya, no?
Hindi abnormal.
Hindi naman, grabe. But you see, parang kang na-normalize sa akin na you're also just the rest of us in our 30s who are just so tired already of going out. You know?
Life has its simple pleasures, I feel.
Okay, this one is actually nice. How important is it for people to explore other sides of life, especially when they feel boxed in by how others see them?
Oh, it's really important. I think that even more so now than before, we have a lot of expectation placed on us by either the role that we have at work, especially as women. When we evolve past the different roles that we've been given, it can kind of be seen as like, oh, bakit ganon? So like if you're a mom and then all of a sudden you want to pursue something for yourself, sometimes you can be met with certain presumptions
Yeah.
like, well, you should be putting that time towards your family.
Yes.
Or like maybe you studied in this path and made a career and then you want to change. Like there will be people that be like, "Ay, sayang naman ng time mo dun and gastos mo sa
Huwag mo na
pag-aaral."
gawin yan. Dito ka na lang.
Yeah, but I think, you know, in all things in one's life, if you're not able to take ownership of what your trajectory looks like, then you will have lived your life for other people, and that's a disservice to self. Because again, you're not gonna be able to be authentic in who you are. You will have that resentment. You will have that dream that you left on the back burner, and maybe you might try and get your kids to you know, do it for you or be able to pursue their stuff. You'll live vicariously through other people. But I feel like if you're able to express that, and maybe you fail, and maybe it's messy, and maybe like people think, oh, sayang ka naman. But like you did it for you.
At least you tried.
Exactly. And the upside of that is maybe it works out.
Yes.
Maybe.
What if it works out?
Exactly. Maybe it becomes even better than what you first perceived it could be. Maybe you can have it all in an even better way. So it's really just the tug and pull of like, where do you choose to create your path, living your life for the expectations of other people, or do you live it for yourself?
Yeah. Did you have that fear when you offered this film and you said, okay, I'm gonna do this film? Did you have that fear that parang, oh, what would people say? Because they just, you're Miss Universe to the whole world.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you're doing something new that they've never seen you do.
Yeah.
Did you have that fear also that, oh, they might think that why am I doing this?
In a way, I think maybe the overarching feeling I had was I just want to do a really good job here. Kasi nakakahiya naman. If I'm with this incredible cast and this incredible project with the story, and then my character is kind of like, parang hindi siya bagay dito. Parang cringe. You know, that's, I guess that was my fear about it. But I just was able to trust the director, trust that I was given this opportunity for a reason. Like they saw something in me, trust that when I did the takes and then they said we're good to move on, like that they were happy
liked
with
it,
what was
yes.
delivered. So, siguro as a creative, I can also understand the investment of self and vision that goes into a creative pursuit, so like the film. And so I also trust that these creatives who are all working together to create this will not just settle for
Yes,
half-best.
after, yes.
Yeah, so there's that reciprocal trust. And so I think that's how I comforted my fears
Yes.
going through this film.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, what do you want? I asked this also to Echo. What do you want people to feel after seeing the film? What do you want them to? Ano yung takeaway nila? Ano yung gusto mong takeaway nila after watching The Loved One?
Siguro, for me, it would be that loving someone requires a lot of adjusting, but not sacrifice of self. That it's okay if you spend 10 years with someone and it doesn't work out. It doesn't mean that your youth was wasted or that it was all for nothing. but rather like your life was enriched by walking out that part of time with each other, and then if you then go your separate ways, then that's okay.
That's okay.
It can still be looked back with love and respect for what it was. And yeah, you just have to take it for what came with it.
Like what Olivia Dean says, no love is wasted when it's shared.
Yeah.
I love that. Right?
Queen Olivia
Queen
Dean.
Olivia Dean. Like, I love that line. No love is wasted when it's shared.
Yes,
It's true. It's like,
tama.
some people kasi, diba, I think we use it as panghihinayang. Nanghihinayang tayo sa tagal. Parang, oh my God, 10 years na kami, naghiwalay pa kami. That's why people stay in relationships like this even if they're so unhappy already.
Yeah.
Because they have that thought always na matagal na, they don't want to start over.
Yeah, it's like a time investment, right? Or maybe it can even stem from a lack of self-worth. Like, if I can't make this work, who else is gonna have me at this age? You know, like I'm older, I'm more mature, maybe I have kids. Like,
Yes.
it's all that kind of perception of self can also interplay there.
I know na. My last question is this. What is your advice to those who are afraid to start over?
My advice to people afraid to start over is that it's scary because it's unknown, but there's a quote, I don't know who said it, but you can drive a far distance in the pitch of night with just a pair of headlights on. You only see a few feet in front of you, but it's enough illumination to get you the whole way. So, like, as long as you just take those little steps at a time, it's okay if it feels scary and it's new and you feel unequipped, but you will find a way to make it work. And yeah, just taking ownership of why you want to do that, why you want to step out, why you want to make a change. If you can stick to that as like your core anchor, I honestly believe everything happens for a reason. And
Agreed.
I encourage you that you will find yourself in a place that you'll be thankful that you took that leap in the first place.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you also.
Thank you.
This was so much fun.
I know. This is such a meaningful conversation. I love it. Please invite everybody to watch The Loved One.
Yeah, so this episode is out on Feb 14th. Happy Valentine's sa mga yearners out there. The Loved One is out nationwide in cinemas, so bring your loved ones or the ones that you loved but haven't told them yet. Charot. Or yung mga friends mo and then your family. And I hope you guys really enjoy this film. We had a lot of fun making it. So thank you so much for having me.
So much.
Hi,
It's an honor to
Brenda.
have you here
Thank
on the Talk
you.
Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Happy Valentine's Day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
So if you want to reconnect with yourself, disconnect with toxic people.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Bear All Podcast. I have with me here na long overdue na tong guesting na to. I'm so glad it's finally happening. I have here with me one of my besties, Bella Padilla!
Hello! Hi guys! Hi Dan!
Finally na tayo.
I know!
What the
Nakakaloka.
hell? 2 years na tong Bear It All. Lagi kami nag-uusap na gagawa kami ng episode. Ngayon pala tuloy.
Sabi ko, finally, I think I've made it. Parang,
Ay,
ito yung
ate,
ano eh.
girl.
Ito yung rurok. Yung parang shocks, I think, isa na talaga akong artista.
Sobra.
Kasi nakasampa na ako sa Bear It All.
Hindi, pero ako talaga, I think meron ako listahan before when I started. Sabi ko, dapat lahat ng mga tao sa life ko, mag-guest ko, ikaw na lang yung winner.
Yeah, and lagi ako
If
nag-offer
you're
kay
wondering
Daniel.
what
Danny, you're
I'm
free ako.
doing,
Ilang basis na to.
Yeah.
But I love this
I'm just
one because
doing
we get to talk
my-
about something that's super exciting because you're in a
My
film.
what?
It's called Reconnect. This
The schedule
MMF, and it's such a good concept. Sabi ko nga sa kanya, ang
of
ganda ng
our
concept ng
staff.
film nila. But I'm gonna have her explain it.
Sige,
Okay,
sige.
so Belle, what is the movie Reconnect? What is it about and what is your role?
So actually, ang simple lang nung idea ng film. It's, what if one day gumising ka tapos walang internet? So, diba, that's such a, I can't even, personally right now, in 2025, I can't wrap my head around it. Because
Yeah.
we use the internet for everything. Like, pagkagising mo, you check your phone right away. Work, diba, you get around using Waze, diba, we use our phone literally for everything.
Even to check the time.
Yeah, and like for us, diba, our jobs also heavily rely on social media. So, I feel like right now I can't imagine my life without internet, but also I miss the time when we were kids na you would literally just play outside. Walang internet. You would just run outside. Ang batayan mo ng kailangan ko na umuwi is palubog na yung araw. Yung nakapapagalitan ako.
gabi na ako.
Oo, magagabi na kailangan ko na umuwi, mapapagalitan na. So I kind of missed that, but at the same time, right now, we're just so heavily dependent on it. So the story revolves around a few characters. It doesn't focus on parang one person. So marami siyang iba-ibang kwento. So para siyang Love Actually, if you will. This is actually the only Christmas movie this Christmas. It's a very light, family-oriented film. Ang gaganda ng iba't ibang story. I can only talk about my character, of course. So, I play an OFW here. I play Trisha, an OFW, and most of my scenes were shot, I would say 95% of my scenes were shot in Thailand. And most of my scenes also were shot with Andrea Brillantes.
Yes.
So, it's my first time to work with her. I initially said yes to this kasi for the first time, hindi love story yung gagawin ko.
Oo nga.
Yeah.
Tsaka mag-isa ka din.
Mag-isa and comedy siya.
Yes.
Hindi ko rin na-feel yung weight ng pelikula kasi usually pag dalawa lang kayong artista, diba, ramdam na ramdam yung
Yeah.
pressure na parang, oh, the movie has to do well. Especially, I came from Isang Daang Awit para kay
Yes.
Stella, which was a hit.
Yes.
I was nervous to choose my next project. So, Rico na came at the perfect time. So yeah, it's a very light but also heartwarming story. When I read the script, I was literally reading it on the way to Bangkok because kakatapos ko lang ng shooting for another film with Carlo Aquino. And then the next day, they asked if I was free to accept this role. And then the day after, pinalipad na ako to Thailand.
Grabe, ang
So,
bilis ng process.
ang bilis ng process. I was reading the script in the plane and I was surprised, nakangiti ako the whole time. But then in the end, my tears were falling na. Sabi ko, okay, may kirot din siya. So, lahat naman tayo as Filipinos, we're very family-oriented or we have that ingrained in us. So, lahat makaka-relate dito.
But I think it's because for your role, it's an OFW kasi, and that's the struggle that OFWs, parang holidays is mas extra heavy for OFWs, mas ramdam nila yung distance sa mga loved ones
Yung
nila.
sickness, pag Pasko, yeah.
So I feel like your story will be relatable to those
Na wala sa feeling ng
pamilya nila this Christmas.
Ang ganda kasi yung pagka-OFW namin ni Andrea dito, it's not the typical OFW you watch in movies na, you know, as much as we also relate to those stories and we want to champion those stories, eto lang kasi lagi yung nakikita natin.
Oo.
Diba yung typical OFW story of a domestic helper struggling in another country. But for the first time, I'm seeing a fresh perspective on an OFW, which is true. Kasi when I lived in London for 4 years, I met a lot of OFWs and they're engineers. Some of them are doctors. You know, like they have different professions. They're not all just DHSs. So parang may mga ibang professions na rin yung second gen and third gen OFWs. So Andrea and I here play slightly successful OFWs. So, yeah, so cute. Mas fresh yung perspective on what an OFW is and even how we talk, how we dress up, it's mas updated.
Yeah, so parang mas makaka-relate lalo yung mga tao.
Yes.
For you, as let's say as Bella, like kanina you said, sa job natin, we heavily rely on social media. If let's say this really happened, let's say one day ma-shut down, kasi kahit naman nung COVID-related, hindi naman tayo namatayan ng wifi. Everybody was still, mostly
We were
everybody.
super online.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think doon ata tayo mas nagdepende
Ang
sa
hirap
social media
gumawa
na time
ng
of COVID.
schedule.
But let's say it
Nakakagulo ng
really
utak.
does happen, na mag-shut down lahat ng internet sa buong mundo. How do you think you're going to cope with that? I feel like you'll survive eh.
Ako, I will
Knowing
eh.
you, I know you will.
Oo,
Ako ata yung hindi.
Honestly, I will. I feel like, especially when I moved to London, because I felt like my life became different when I was in London. In my perspective, it was uninteresting. Everybody said otherwise. They're like, no, we actually enjoy like what you were doing in London, na parang the slow life. Pero ako, I felt like I don't need to post this because it's so mundane. You know, I was going to school, I was cooking my own food, I was cleaning my house, pero people pala wanted to see more of that. And I never posted it. Like, I hardly posted when I was in London. And napansin ko, as I lived away from the Philippines, mas naging detached ako sa social media. So, it's true eh. Tayo talaga ang country na we're the #1 users of social media in the whole world. So, kaya talagang natataon itong pelikula to sa,
Oo.
sa bansa natin. But, yeah, personally, I think I will survive. Like, I don't check my social media accounts as much as I used to when I lived here before. Pero ngayon na bumalik ako sa Pilipinas and nagkatrabaho ako ulit full-time sa showbiz, ayan, nag-check na naman ako. I'm on TikTok
It comes
a lot.
with the
I'm
job,
on
I
Instagram.
feel.
Yeah. And sometimes it gets really heavy. Like, you don't notice, but like ako personally, nandun na naman yung bad habit of I compare what I'm doing or how pagod I am to like, buti pa siya pa-petics lang. Pero, bakit ako araw-araw ko nagtitaping? Alam mo yun, yung parang nagkakaroon na naman ako ng comparison.
Yeah.
And that's such a bad habit of mine that I want to remove. And it comes with with your internet usage.
Yeah. But okay, so I think you're the perfect person to ask about this because every single time there is like an important issue that comes out, you always give the best opinions on things. Parang pinapaisip mo lagi yung tao and it starts a conversation. And so, like my
I
question
learned from
for
the
you,
best.
I think for her, mas tumatap before, nagsimula kasi yung friendship namin na siya yung outspoken, ako yung hindi, takot ako. But then she's like very, kung ano yung paglalaban ko, ito yung paglalaban ko. Parang tumapak ako talaga. Kasi pag magkasama ko, alam mo, magkaroon kami ng instances na may mapapaaway kami. Tapos siya yung, hindi kami ever napaaway, like malaking away guys ha. Yung minsan mag-aano kami, yung may pagsasabihan kaming tao. Siya yung lagi nagbibigay sa akin ng energy na hindi, ito yung tama, ito yung gagawin natin. Naalala mo yung handicap lane natin? Never ko makakalimutan yun
Yeah,
talaga.
I was so upset.
Ayaw niya na may nakapark sa handicap lane.
Because you're not supposed to.
As in, she's that girl na kung meron kayong hahanapin na ipaglalaban talaga yung mga karapatan, ito talaga yon, siya talaga yon. As in, so anyway, naparealize niya sa akin na, oh my God, may nag-park sa handicap lane na hindi handicap. Kailangan natin pagsabihan. Oh my God, pinagsabihan talaga natin.
Kasi wala makadaan doon sa ramp.
Yes!
If someone on a wheelchair had to pass, hindi siya makakadaan. So,
I
pero we
swear,
should.
nawala ng choice yung tao.
Tumurong niya yung kotse.
Tinurong niya yung kotse.
Kasi kung hindi, magpapatow talaga ako ng kotse ng araw na eh.
Siya yun eh. She's the one na alam ko na, that's why every time she gives her opinion on certain things, like, okay, like, this is her again, being herself that I have to fight for what's right. And honestly, that's one of the many things I love about you also. Okay, so since social media to and internet to, what do you think is the pros and cons of social media?
I always say this. I realize the difference now of content from when we were young and from the kids now. So, di ba dati, pag nanonood tayo ng pelikula, or hindi, kahit TV show, alam mo pag Tuesday, kunwari, ang mga palabas pag Tuesday, puro comedy.
Yeah.
Nakaset yung utak mo, ay tatawa ako sa Tuesday.
Yes.
Funny yung mga palabas sa Tuesday. Tapos sa Thursday, MMK yan. Iiyak ako sa Thursday. So parang, yung emotions mo, alam mo kailan ka makakaramdam ng sadness,
Yes.
ng happiness, diba? Tapos may discussion kayo with your family after because you watch TV
May
together.
debrief.
May debriefing kayo sa sofa kayo manonood na grabe yung pagbasa ni Ma'am Sharon dun sa letter at talaga namang grabe yung pinagdaanan ni Piolo Pascual dun sa episode na yun, diba? Tapos you talk about it, your parents teach you what you should take and shouldn't take from the episodes. Now, kids have access to a phone that gives you a video of a cute puppy dancing, diba? Pag swipe up mo, aeroplanong bumagsak and you see dead bodies, which we didn't see before in the
Yeah.
news because everything used to be blurred
They
out.
filter it also.
We're so desensitized to death now. And then you swipe up again and it's an octopus na best friend ng isang lalaki na depressed. I love my octopus teacher, by the way. And then you swipe up again and it's children being bombed in Palestine.
Yeah.
So, how do children now regulate their emotions? Because I have friends who have kids now that are also a little bit grown up. They have phones already at 14, 15 years old. At 34, I do not know how to regulate my emotions when I'm on Instagram because it's highs and lows of
Mixed emotions talaga.
happiness and extreme rage. And I can't figure it out. How can a 15-year-old figure that out, right? So, I'm scared for how this generation will face their emotions, or do they even know how to filter what they should and shouldn't take out of social media? Kasi ako, when I was living in London and the Israel-Palestine war broke out, I was so depressed when I was seeing all the images both in Israel and in Palestine. I had to log out of all my accounts for a week kasi hindi na ako natutulog. I would see babies, like babies with their arms chopped off. This is not something that we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And I don't mean, like turn a blind eye because you shouldn't. Just because you don't see it, it doesn't mean it's not happening. But again, we have to screen what the kids now are seeing also, or the younger batches are seeing now also. So ako right now, I'm very pensive about social media in this sense. I feel like this is a big con na parang it doesn't come with a warning. It also doesn't come with a manual. So who teaches the children how to feel after you give them this much?
Who will debrief them?
Yeah, kasi grabe yung stimulation ng Instagram, ng TikTok, ng Twitter. Pupunta ka ng Twitter, Diyos ko, parang nakapag-away sa barangay eh. Parang, wait lang, gusto ko lang magbasa ng balita.
Sobrang ko, ba't hindi na ako nagte-Twitter? Kasi pag nababasa ko talaga yun, na-over, masisira yung araw ko talaga. Kasi it's different kinds of opinions. Tapos biglang nawawalan ka na, okay, ano naman yung opinion ko? Parang wala na akong opinion, nasabi na nila lahat. Alam mo yun?
Yeah, also, one thing I noticed, sadly, especially here in the Philippines, I don't know if this is true for other countries, meron tayong ugali na parang, if this is what the majority says, you should believe. Or, eto yung gusto namin, sabihin mo din, eto yung pinapaniwalaan namin. If you're not part of our belief, you're cancelled.
Yeah.
Who decides who gets to get cancelled? Like,
I
why
love
can't
that.
we all have opinions? Why can't we all have... I mean, where did critical thinking go? Like, why was
Bawal
that
na
thrown out the
magkamali.
window? Oo, tsaka, di ba, kaya nga nagkaroon ng ganito eh. What is social media for? Isn't it communication? Isn't it to be social? Isn't it to talk? So where is the table now? Where is it open for discussion? Why do we all have to side with one group only? Kasi when it becomes like that, it's very dangerous eh. You're controlling na how people think.
Yeah, or the narrative.
And
Kung
the
saan sila
narrative.
pupunta.
Exactly.
Like, if there's a conversation that should be, like, tackled or dapat pag-usapan, nawawala yung whole point. Kasi kung saan nanganganak na siya to other things, at say may issue ang isang bagay, ito dapat yung pinag-uusapan, biglang love life na nung tao, anak na nung tao, career.
Personal issues
Personal
na.
issues na that's not even related to the problem.
And shouldn't be dragged into the conversation. But yeah, so see, it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, the pros sometimes I feel are outweighed by the cons, to be honest. Pros, definitely, we see a lot of content creators emerging from the Philippines that are very creative. Ako, grabe, nabubudol ako sa TikTok pag madaling araw kasi ang gagaling mag-makeup talaga ng mga Filipino content creators.
Yeah.
So parang, pag binili ko na, bakit hindi ganun yung itsura ko
Hindi
nung
kaya
ako yung
pag-apply.
nag-apply?
Mali.
Oo eh. Kasi parang pares naman kami ng eyes, pero nung kinabit ko na, parang, uy, iba yung look.
Iba yung shimmer. Sa akin hindi ganito. Ba't sa akin matte? Ba't sa akin hulas?
Sa kanya shimmer, sa akin nagmukha ko siminto. Parang, ba't gano'n? Sa akin shiner.
Nakakabutol. And I think for businesses, it's also good for the content creators, mga celebrities, syempre. And for me ang news kasi, mas maganda kasi it reaches every generation now. I think kaya mas outspoken ang Gen Zs ngayon kasi umaabot na sa kanila ang news. Dati kasi TV lang naman meron tayo eh.
And not everyone watches the news.
Yes. Ngayon, every platform that there's a conversation about what's going on in the world.
True.
So if you're not up to date, you're very, ano ka ng tao,
Parang fault mo na. Kasi
Yes.
it's everywhere na eh. Oo.
sobrang shut off mo naman as a human being if hindi ka aware sa mga nangyayari.
Wala na nga excuse now eh to be, you can't say anymore, ay hindi ko alam. You should know.
Okay, so anyway, balik tayo sa reconnecting. Since reconnect ang title nito, I know the answer to this, but I don't think people who don't know you know this. But do you consider yourself someone who easily unplugs or does disconnect? Or does disconnecting give you anxiety?
It doesn't. I'm also a type of person who hardly gets anxious.
Yeah.
It's very rare. The only time I got really anxious was when my cat Sputnik died and I called Danny right away. I was like, Danny, I'm gonna die. I literally told Danny, ako makinga.
Oh my God. Dalawa yun. May isa kang cat na nauna.
Oh yeah, si Shadow.
Doon nagsimula yung sobra mong panic na feeling mo magiging mag-isa ka na. And then, si Sputnik.
Si Sputnik yung malala kasi 13 years. He was
Yes.
1 month shy of turning 14.
So, parang tao kasi yun si Sputnik. Hindi siya cat. Tao talaga yun.
The first cat that Danny,
Like, ever.
yeah, true.
Tsaka nabibili yun, alam niya guys, sa kakaramdam siya. Kapag ayaw niya sa tao, hindi siya mabait.
Okay guys, quick story lang. Pwede niyo i-edit out to. Nung namatay si Sputnik, ang dami kong trabaho that day. Like, I had 4 events to go to. And I had to go to the French ambassador's house because a friend of mine was going to be awarded something. So I was like, Dani, I can't leave. I was living in a hotel because I was only here for 2 months.
Yeah.
But I was shooting a movie. Dani, I can't leave my room. I'm so sad. I'm gonna die. Like, grabe na. Gusto ko magpadala kay Dani sa ospital. Ganong level. Sabi niya,
pesos na natin kinagkakayot, girl.
yup. And Danny said, calm down. I have something. I have vitamins. You can buy it on healthy options. What's it called again? 5-HTP. So 5-HTP is like a happy hormone. And you can take it. It actually helps you even lose weight. Because when you're happy, you eat less, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know. So 5-HTP is something you can even buy sa drugstore. So Danny goes, I have 5-HTP here at home. If you want, kung hindi ka pupunta ng healthy options, I can send you. So I go, okay, I really want it right now. And I've never taken 5-HTP in my life. So I don't know, you only take 1. Now, Danny sent me the gummy version. Yung pwede sa kids, safe sa kids. It tasted really good. And I hadn't had breakfast because my cat just died. I ate all the gummies. It was like a whole Ziploc of gummies.
Yeah.
So all the events I went to that day, and everybody asked me, how are you?
Kalbato.
No, eto pa, everybody asked me, how are you today? Ganyan. Oh, my cat just died. I was smiling. In all the photos, I was smiling. When I look back now, on the day that my cat died, I was smiling more that day than I ever have in my life. As in, di ba papadala ka ng pictures mo, photographer, after na event, para kung gusto mo mag-post, may isang picture, nakangiti ako, nakatingin ako sa pader. Wala akong kausap. I was looking at the wall.
Sa feelings mo. Ay, awkward sa...
No, but I was genuinely happy. Nakatingin ako sa wall, masaya. Ang ganda ng pader. Maganda yung paggagawa.
Pagkagawa ng pader.
Indigo's project tong pader na to. Nakangiti ako dun sa
May
pader.
budget.
May budget tong pader na to. Shangri-La. Nakasmile ako. Sabi ko, oh my God, never again akong ikakain ng ganong karaming 5-HTP gummies in my
Kasi
life.
dapat, actually, kasalanan ko rin, hindi ko naman sinabi sa kanya talaga kung ilan ba dapat yun.
Pero sa tingin ko rin, hindi tatalaga yung isa sa bigat ng
Feeling ko
nararamdaman ko
din.
that day.
Pero nag-crash ka din doon. Kasi after nung nag-wear out yun sa'yo, malungkot ka na naman doon.
Oo. Nakipag-break ako sa ex, hindi ako naiyak eh. Pero yung pusa akong namatay.
Uy, pero naman
my
si
God.
Spotting, ang tagal mo na kasama. Mas iiyakan mo naman talaga yun kaysa sa ex mo, ano? Okay, so how do you personally reconnect with yourself after, like, let's say, ilang sunod-sunod ka na burnout, sunod-sunod ka ng trabaho? Plus, not to mention, galing kang London,
Nakalive
then
ako.
you came back, you had to move all your stuff again, you have to start again here, your entire life, kasi you have to give up your car, you have to give up your house. Parang nag-begin again ka when you moved back. Although your career has always been the same and thriving, it's just yung mindset mo lang na babalik ka ulit. So how did you reconnect with yourself after all that change?
On a surface level, kasi I constantly need to reconnect with myself, like after a role, diba?
Yeah.
Parang, lalo na pag mabigat, I'm sure Julia also tells you about this, because I feel like Julia and I have very similar styles,
Yeah.
like as people din. Parang, after a role, ako, personally, ang ginagawa kong pagpag or pag-reconnect is to go to the beach. I need any kind of salt water, so like workout, or iyak, like
Yeah.
I cry it out, or beach. So of all the 3 options, ang favorite ko is beach. Ayoko nag-workout, at ayoko umiiyak. So beach talaga. So that's my thing. And funnily, my favorite beach right now is a beach that Danny introduced me to. So
Yeah.
Bohol is my
Bohol.
safe space. So after a heavy project, or just any project, I fly to Bohol.
Yeah. Alam ko na eh, pag nakikita na kita sa Bohol,
Pinagdadaanan to.
pinagdadaan. Nagre-reconnect ko sa sarili mo.
I would highly recommend it. Yeah, the beach talaga is the perfect place. Dun sa bigger stuff, I guess, ayoko kasi nagwawalo. Like, you know this about me, and I feel like you're the same also. Pag may problema kasi kami, we face it head on first. And moving back wasn't a problem. It was just a big task.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to like baby myself and be like, oh, what you're going through is so hard. We weren't brought up that way.
Yeah.
We were brought up na parang solve it first, do it now,
Iyak ka mamaya.
figure it out later.
Yeah.
If you feel bad, cry later.
Yeah.
Not now. You have to do it now. So that's how I face life or anything I have to do. So I guess reconnecting also for me is similar. If it's something that's hard, like if a part of me that I need to reconnect with is hard, gawin ko muna, mamaya ako naintindihan yung feelings ko. Yeah.
Tsaka I feel therapeutic din siya for you kasi ang bilis sa'yo, Belle, you were working while you were moving back also. Everything was sabay. But I know you kasi, you love building stuff. She's Bob the Builder to eh. Kunyari,
nung sa bahay niya, siya lahat gagawa, hindi niya pagagawain sa ibang bahay, sa ibang tao. Like kung building ng sofa, building ng cabinet, building ng drawer, table, siya lahat gagawa niyan mag-isa. Hindi siya yung, okay, tao, kuya, patulong. Hindi siya ganon. Nung nag-move kami, siya gumagawa ng mga stuff namin sa bahay. Siya yung
Oo nga pala.
mga table, mga rack,
Yes.
siya gumagawa. So sabi ko na feeling ko ano to sa kanya, yung moving sa kanya is just therapeutic for her because it seemed to me that you were enjoying the process again and decorating again. So I think there are some ways, like what can you advise to other people? Like okay, one is you said that they can go to a beach or find a happy place or a safe space. But paano naman kunyari ang setting? Let's say wala silang access to social media and they don't know where to go. How do you think they can reconnect? Kasi may mga ibang tao, iba-iba yung mga ginagawa nila. Some people go to church, some people talk to a friend, but some people like to reconnect by themselves, which is for me, I highly recommend also. So what can you advise to those? So wala namang access to...
Yeah. Ako, the most basic thing, and this is something kasi our body physically needs, and parang one of the few basic rights of a human being, eat. Eat something good. Doesn't have to be expensive. Doesn't have to cost 500 pesos. Eat something that genuinely makes you happy. Kahit chocolate lang. Ako, ganyan, minsan on a really hard day sa set, ako bilang chocolate or flat tops.
I just bought a full pack of chocolate and I was eating it the other day.
So, just, kasi parang once na pinagbigyan mo yung sarili mo and yung katawan mo, it rewards you also. It rewards you back, gives you energy again. Lumalaban yung katawan mo na, sige, kaya natin harapin ano yung next. So, even if it's something that simple, it makes such a difference. Yeah. Tapos yun, tama yung mga sinabi mo. Talk to a friend, call your family.
Iba-iba kasing ways ang ibang tao to reconnect. Iba-iba din yung reason sila why they have to reconnect. I think they just have to know how in touch they are with their feelings.
Yes.
Kasi some people think that I need to reconnect but they're not in that headspace na this is what I have to do. Nasa denial process sila na hindi ko kailangan, okay pa ako, kailangan ko
Okay
magtrabaho.
ako,
Parang doon naman nagsisimula lahat ng problems.
Actually, I'm very proud of you in this aspect. Kasi parang, when we were younger, diba, syempre, there were things na we wanted to face alone. Or like, I'll do things my way. Or, I know what's best for me, diba? And I know you're panganay, you're very headstrong. And also, you always felt like, I know this about you always felt like I can't burden my siblings or my mom about my problems because I'm the eldest, I have to be tough. But now I can see your relationship with your mom is so solid. And that's so beautiful to see na as you grow, the stages of your life also change talaga.
Yeah. She was in the center of it When the time my mom and I was rocky, I lived with her for a while. So she was really at the center of it and she really saw the whole process of me honestly reconnecting with myself.
Yeah, yes.
Honestly, from being checked out to being a whole totally different person. Kasi at that time, I think dalawa lang kayong may alam kung ano nangyayari sa life ko noon. And nobody knew.
Sino yung isa? Dapat ako lang.
Ito siya.
Sige, si Taz pwede.
Dalawa lang kayong dalawang may alam ng time na yun. Kasi kayong dalawang
Nagselos pa, sino pa?
Sila dalawang excuses ko nun. Kasama ko si Tasing, kasama ko si Bella. It's always just two people at the time. So I was just like, it's a different form na parang I had to find myself or reconnect with myself of what I'm supposed to do.
May isang day, tumatawag si Tita Marge sa akin na, nasan si Danny? Ganyan-ganyan. Nasan si Danny? Nasa taping ako, hindi ko po alam. Wait lang, tita. Text ako, Danny, nasan ka? Nasa simbahan lang siya, nakaupo mag-isa.
Kaya sabi ko sa'yo,
Tulala. Yeah, so like,
malalang faces ko talaga.
but
Sa life.
it was helpful at that time for you. And that's, honestly, sino pa bang pinaka-best na puntahan kundi simbahan, kundi Diyos? Sa totoo lang. Ako, at the end of the day, wala ka talaga ibang pwedeng kapitan. Pag hirap na hirap ka na, like yan, the stages of life, ikaw, you found that it's helpful for you or like, it benefited you now na you reconnected with your mom. Ako naman different parang I feel like it's easier for me now to face life alone. So, we can't give advice then na ito dapat yung gawin kasi we're all different. Like, tayo,
things different.
pag best friend natin, iba pa rin yung path
Course
natin.
ng buhay natin.
Exactly. So like, before, I would never tell my older brother what my problems are. Ngayon, I'm so close to my older brother. So, like, it's stages talaga. Maybe in 5 years, I'll be secretive again, or like I'll keep things to myself again, and my brother won't know again what's happening to me. And then in another 5 years, super close namin ulit. You know, it's stages talaga.
Yeah. Phases of our lives.
Kaya nga, reconnect. Kasi there are times talaga we drift away from each other. Yeah.
How important is it for you to slow down? Lalo na sa how fast-paced your life is.
I don't like slowing down. It pisses me off. It makes me sick. As in physically sick When I am not on set, linalagnat ako. Hindi ko na alam kung ano nangyari sa akin. Oo, nagkakasakit ako. I love the fast life. Like, I'm most comfortable and I'm most happy when I'm on set. So parang, ngayon, pag nababakante ako, doon ako nagiging aligaga. Yung parang hala, what should I do
Nag-overthink
next?
ka na.
Overthinking na. Yeah.
Alam ko yan about her, overthinker din kasi to. Pareho kami in that sense. Na when we're super idle or not doing anything, it's like, wait, why am I not doing anything? What's happening with my life? How come no one is like that? Parang, ang dami na, dati we would hang out just to talk about all about the shit we're overthinking.
Yeah. It was, to be fair, there were moments you had to overthink na talaga. Like, she had a really toxic ex. I'm not gonna name him. But this guy gaslit her so bad.
Out of me.
And I wouldn't believe it because she would tell me stories where, you know, he told me this. And then, when we got there, this happened. I was like, surely he did not. You know, like I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt that no person would do that, you know. And then I saw it in real time. It was happening in front of me. I got so mad. Like, that's not what you said.
Yeah.
Hindi yan yung sinabi mo 5 minutes ago.
Sobrang pinaglalaban niya ako nung time na yun kasi hindi ko talaga kaya paglaban yung sarili ko nung time.
Okay, this guy told me, okay, I have to say it. I-edit out din ako. Hindi papasahin dahil ito.
Dito sa episode, na umutak siya sa'yo for bouquet of flowers. Share ko nung live show.
Binili niya ba ever?
Binili niya. Pero di ba, ang kadulas sa akin, yung ex mo na sinabi niya, napera ka na ba niya dun sa bouquet of flowers? And then, si Bella gulat sabi, why did you tell her? Like, she never told me. She was that nice. She just wanted me to have a nice bouquet. And then, that asshole, umutang pala sa kanya.
Pwede pala sabihin yung asshole dito, asshole ka. No, joke lang. Kala ko kasi, I thought this was a family show.
It is not.
Okay, no, the best one he did. Okay, Danny went to LA with her family. Can I say this? Edit it out if you don't like it. Danny went to LA with her family. This mofo messaged me and said, I really want to go out na kasi I miss Danny. Tapos wala akong kausap and she won't let me go out. I go, talaga? She told you not to go out? So I was like, that's odd. Like, that doesn't sound like Danny to not let you go out. So, yeah, she told me I'm not allowed to go out. Sabi ko, where do you wanna go ba? Gusto niya mag-club, di ba? Parang kasi pumarty. Sabi niya, kasi plano ko pagbalik ni Danny, magpo-propose na ako eh. So, parang last few times ko na to go out. Like, oh my God! Like, I was flipping out. I was like, what? He's gonna propose? Like, I was losing my shit. I was like, oh my God, congrats! I'm so happy for you. Tapos, I didn't know how to not tell Danny that the boyfriend back then was gonna propose na. I wanted to tell her, she was gonna be so happy. And then, so I just texted Danny, Dad, payagan mo na siya lumabas, ganyan. So I helped him go out. I helped this mofo go out. So pinayagan ni Danny, lumabas. Gabi-gabi lumabas. Pagbalik, hindi nag-propose. Okay? Hindi nag-propose kay Danny. Tapos nag-text ako, ano nangyari? Kailan ka magpo-propose? Di ba sabi propose ka? Do you need help? Ganyan. Baka, akala ko baka kulang ng funds or something and he needed help.
Oo, tangin niya na naman.
Kasi,
Yeah.
wala siyang job.
Ang hirap,
Okay,
ang hirap
baka
gawa.
kailangan
Guys,
ng help. Guys, ang reply sa akin, I was
So
joking lang,
hard.
Bells.
Nakakaloka
Gusto mo
talaga.
puntahan kita sa bahay mo.
Nakakaloka talaga.
Nakakaloka.
Ginamit niya ba? To be honest, hindi ko nga alam. Gusto niya lumabas nung time na yun. Eh, ako wala mo nang pakialam. Hindi talaga about me. I don't restrict. Javi is a DJ, guys. He goes home at 6 a.m. Do you think I ever prevented him from, like, DJing?
Si Javi pa yung nagturo sa amin lumabas eh.
Totoo. It's not something na, but although, kahit lumalabas kami before, siya lang din ang pwede kong kasama. Time na yun, pag nag-aaway pa nga kami, siya lang yung kasama ko. Kasi pag kaming dalawa, inuumaga din kasi kami. But it's always like at that time, at the height of all of that, I honestly felt the most disconnected with myself. I felt like the most
When you were with,
this guy. Parang
I want to reconnect with this guy and just punch him.
like every single time, it's always parang he made me feel very, very small. And she was the one who always reminded me that, ano ka ba? Like, say something, do something. Like, there's something wrong. Sinagot pa niya yan one time. parang, bakit kailangan mong paalam sa kanya? Ilang taong ka na ba? Yun mo siya one
Yeah,
time.
kasi in front of all of our friends, tinatanong niyo si Danny kung pwede siyang kumuha ng pizza. Bobo! Nakakainis!
Bakit ka nagpapaalam? Sabi ko, ka nagpapaalam? And literally, I was like, eat. Parang, he was speaking, it seemed like, in the whole friend group that I was so
Controlling. Tapos yung
controlling.
pagkatang niya pa yung, Dan, okay lang ba? Ikaw ba si Sarah Munting Prinsesa? Naku, nagagalit talaga ako.
Wala naman ako pakialam kung kumain siya ng pizza. Ano mo ba ito? Pizza.
What's your work po
Literally,
ba?
pizza and tipsy pig.
Yeah,
Naalala ko yun.
dude, like seriously, anything to make him look kawawa. Ginawa niya talaga lahat.
So maybe that's good advice. If you want to reconnect with yourself, disconnect with toxic people.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's perfect. That's your teaser there. Okay. Tama yun. Okay, elaborate na lang natin yun, Bel. Sa mga taong nahihirapan mag-disconnect from toxic people. Like, anong ma-advise mo yan sa kanila?
Ay, napanood ako recently sa Instagram, natontowa ako. Oh, Instagram. yun kasi yung school ko ngayon eh. School of Instagram. Sabi niya parang, why do you treat yourself this way when you wouldn't even treat your friends this way? Right?
Yes.
So, I feel like,
okay.
if you see, like, your best friend, like ako, nakikita
Okay,
kita
okay,
before
go.
with him, and I always question, like, why are you guys still together? Like, you're hurting each other na. If you can see it that clearly for other people, you should see it for yourself clearly too. Diba? Especially when you're maturing na. Dapat we know na when to say no. And it's sad, syempre sa umpisa mahirap. Hindi naman madali talaga makipag-break or like to remove yourself from situations. Also, not everyone is also financially stable enough to leave, lalo na pag it's a marriage, diba? But staying longer will just hurt you more and it just makes you believe more that you deserve this kind of treatment. So, why would you want that for yourself if you can't even stand seeing your closest friends go through that, diba? Ako, yun na lang lagi yung gauge ko. Yung pinagdadaanan ko right now, kaya ko ba na makita na yung best friends ko pinagdadaanan to? Kasi kung hindi, I shouldn't go through it either. I don't
Yeah.
deserve it. So yun na yung gauge ko ngayon, lagi.
Pero nakita mo na eh, bakit mo gusto pang pagdaanan? If you're put in that situation, if you already know, oh my God, hindi niya kinaya, almost breaking point, bakit mo ulitin? Diba parang, I mean, aren't friends supposed to be there to also be your voice of reason when you can't reason with yourself?
Kasi sometimes we try to, try to justify everything. Pinagbibigyan.
Sabi ko din, if you surround yourself with people who just, you know, parang magsusulsol sa'yo ng, de, gawin mo yun, okay lang, mag-stay ka dyan, matagal na kayo. If ganyan yung friend group mo, alam mo na kung anong magiging bunang buhay mo.
Ang ina-enable ko lang ay shopping. Pero everything else, wag.
Tama naman. Mahirap kasama din sa shopping to. Diyos ko, Lord God.
Kasi recently ko lang din pinagbigyan yung sarili ko. Parang, deserve na natin yun. Tagal na natin nagtatrabaho.
Pero alam mo, naabutan kita sa time talaga that you wouldn't buy anything for yourself. It's a struggle. She thinks about it 10 million times before she buys it. And I've also seen her enjoy the fruits of her labor very late na in her career. As in, ano na siya, Bella Padilla na siya. Diba? Kasi yung pera niya lagi pupunta yan sa ibang tao or
I didn't even hold my credit cards before. Yeah. Well,
it
now
was
we
such a
learn.
tough time for you, but then I also saw you na, oh my God, I'm so happy to see her finally like spoiling herself. I
and it
love
feels
that.
good.
It feels good. I think that's also something we can share to people na you gotta have to also see yung fruits of your labor. Kasi ibang tao takot sila to buy something for themselves kasi this is supposed to go to something mas important. Which is totoo naman, not everybody naman is as privileged or as us, but I always say kahit konti nga lang, kahit kainin mo lang yung favorite food mo, favorite snack mo, basta
Pagbigyan
nabili
mo lang yung sarili mo.
bigyan mo lang yung sarili mo. It doesn't have to be anything.
Kasi lahat ka nasuspoil mo eh. Bakit yung sarili mo hindi?
Hindi.
Oo.
Tama yan. I love that.
Ay, naku, ganyan na ganyan yung character ko dito sa movie.
Dito.
Oo. Sinuspoil niya lahat pero sarili niya. So, she will learn her lesson.
So, do you think may may similarities kayo ng character mo?
I think so, but she's tougher than me. Kasi grabe yung pinagdaanan niya eh. Parang to get home. Kasi nung nawala yung internet, syempre hindi siya makasakay ng flight. All flights were grounded and she really had to go home for the holidays. So, you'll figure out in the film why. But I don't think I'm as gutsy as her. Na sasakay ako ng barko, yung ganong level na parang bebenta ko yung mga gamit ko sa kalsada. You know, like, and that happened purely also because of Andrea's character. So ang fun din ng character ni Andrea. It's something to watch out for. Also, I didn't know. I've never worked with her before. I've never hung out with her before. She's such a fun girl pala and funny person. Like, I was so pleasantly surprised by Andrea because kami magkasama 24/7 sa Bangkok. And ang ganda ng delivery niya dito sa character niya. It's the first time I've seen her in a comedy and I'm excited for you guys to watch her performance.
I'm excited to see it, Belle. What do you want people to feel after they watch Reconnect? Yung paglabas nila ng cinema, what do you want people to feel or realize or reflect on after watching Reconnect?
Ako dalawa. Either they don't reach for their phone because they realize I don't need it pala that much, or they reach for their phone and they text someone they haven't spoken to in a while. Would be nice. If that's the effect we give our audience, then I feel like we've done our job right. Reconnecting is hard, especially when you're getting older na, diba? But if recent events in the world teaches us anything, like even just the pandemic, right? You really don't know what can happen tomorrow, eh, diba? Like even just the shutdown of the internet, that's very possible. A few months ago, all flights in Europe were grounded. What if you had to go home talaga that day because a family member was in the hospital? Hindi ka nakapagpaalam. Our lives depend so much on things we can't control. So the things that you can, really take control. I think we have to stop saying I couldn't, I can't, I didn't know. Take control of your life. Be responsible of the narrative of your own life. And you'll see how much better it feels.
Oh, I love that, Belle. Thank you so much for guesting.
Thank you for having me. I made it.
Thank you
Tsaka
for
thank you sa paglagay ng letter B.
Oo naman,
Sobrang na-appreciate. Hindi yan Beretol, Bella Padilla.
It's very time.
It's me.
But thank you so much. Reconnect is an official entry to the MMFF this December 25 showing na siya. Invite everybody, Belle.
Yes, guys, please watch the only Christmas movie this Christmas. Kasama ko napakadaming talented at malalaking artista. I'll be with Gerald Anderson, Miss Gloria Diaz, the whole Legazpi family, Tita Carmina, Tito Zoren, Cassie and Mavi, mga pinsan ni Dan. Nandyan din si Charlie Dizon, and of course, the beautiful Andrea Brillantes. And this is directed by Jane Castro, and this is produced by Reality Studios. Thank you!
Thank you, Belle! I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and happy holidays, everyone!
Ang hirap, nakakainis. Kasi kulang-kulang yung staff.
Takot ako sa tao. And it comes from hindi dahil sa ayaw ko sa tao. Takot ako na makasakit because it comes from losing both my mom and my dad at an early age na
Let's talk their topics and bold conversations here at Bear It All Podcast with Danny Bird.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Bear It All Podcast. Today I have a very, very special guest. I'm so excited for this episode. Ang dami kong narinig na stories about her, but one thing's for sure, she's a really strong woman, and I'm so glad to be able to sit down with her so you guys can hear her story. I have here today, Bianca Umali.
Hi!
Hello. Thank you so much for guesting here at Thank the you Bear for It All having me. Podcast. Sobrang excited ko. 2 weeks ago ko pa alam naman. You guys have no idea. Like, I'm pretty sure if you're a fan of her, you know her story. But there's a lot of depth with this woman. Like, grabe. I've only spoken to her for at least 30 minutes before we started this episode. And I already, parang nakita ko na kung grabe yung pinagdaanan niya. And not only that, how beautiful she turned out to be. Inside and out.
Maraming
Grabe.
salamat.
Intense. So I'm so excited for people to get to know you in this level. Kasi to, girl, kahit ilang oras ka magsalita, okay lang. We have the time, di ba? Okay, so let's get that. Siguro I want people to know you first muna. So kanina, tatanungin na lang kita ulit.
Yes.
Kasi kanina ganda na nung usapan namin. Okay, so what age talaga did you start to be an actress? Or let's say, dream mo na ba yun ever since? Did you want to be an actress ever since? Okay, so every time I would get asked that question, if it was a dream for
Yes.
me, it honestly wasn't. Kasi I started doing commercials I was 2 years old. It was really the dream of my parents for me to be in the industry and maging artista.
Ang ganda mo kasi. Kasi di ba kapag yung mga
Salamat.
magaganda yung mga anak ko, kapag commercial mo yan, pag artista
ganun.
mo yan.
And that's
di ba?
exactly how I started.
Oo.
It was also my mom who had really high dreams of mag-artista. Kasi siya rin mismo, she used to dance in a show called Disco Rama before. Tapos, so commercial since 2. And then, hanggang sa nagtuloy-tuloy ako until 7. I officially signed with TV when I was 9. But still, I was still auditioning, nag-extra ako hanggang sa maging young versions of the big stars or even, a talent lang na nakaupo sa table na to na foreground dun sa big artista.
Yeah.
That was how I really started. And I couldn't say na pinangarap ko siya kasi lumaki ako na ginagawa ko siya. So, I got used to being in front of the camera as opposed to dreaming of
Yeah.
gusto ko na maging artista. Tas, I think doon din nanggaling yung pagmamahal ko para sa ginagawa ko. Kasi nga, tumanda ako na ginagawa ko na siya nasa harap ako. So, it was something na I was developing parang in every phase of my life. And where I'm at now, I'm just enjoying and loving learning more and more about it.
But okay, so this is not really like the first time people are gonna hear about it. But you lost your parents at such a young age.
Yes.
How was that? Because you were 5 when you lost your mom. What did you feel at that time? How did they tell you? Was it sudden?
How I lost my mom when I was 5, I lost her to breast cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And so, it wasn't sudden actually. Although, as a 5-year-old at that time, syempre hindi pa gaano malinaw.
O, paano mo explain sa 5-year-old yun
Oo,
eh?
hindi gaano malinaw because they would also, bring me out of the room when she's there or kasi she went through chemotherapy and when she was slowly losing her hair, yun yung mga parang flashes of memories na naaalala ko. May time pa na I wasn't allowed to go inside the room at home because they brought the hospital there and I think the medicines weren't healthy for me to be exposed to.
Yeah.
But then wala silang explanation sa akin nun. So hanggang silip lang ako sa kwarto
Yeah.
nun. And I felt like, bakit ayaw sa akin ng mom ko?
Momo.
May ganung feeling. It wasn't a sudden death, but how she passed away, I think ganyan ko lang din makukwento to. I was in the hospital room when she had her last breath. So, like nakwento ko, my mom had 2 daughters before me. And kaming tatlo na mga anak niya, yung mga naiwan doon. My dad, I think, if I remember correctly, he went out to buy medicine or to talk to the doctor. And then, kaming tatlo lang naiwan, our eldest ate was on the phone. Yung gitna namin was sitting beside my mom sa bed. And then, I was playing. And then, there's this monitor that had numbers on it.
Yeah.
Siyempre, hindi ko alam kung ano yun, but sabi nila, oxygen
Level.
monitor yun. And then, sabi ko, hala, magsi-zero ba yan?
Oh,
Parang
wow.
ganun yung question ko. And then, so they looked at me lang. And then, a few minutes after, tumunog na siya.
Oh no, parang nag-flatline ka nun.
Nag-flatline na siya. And then, nagpanic na yung sisters ko. But syempre ako, I didn't understand what was happening until my eldest ate called my dad na. And then like, ang bilis na nung pangyari, my dad stormed into the room, he threw what he was holding, and then my kuyas came, and then they carried me out of the room.
Oh my Lord God.
Yun na yun. So, we were there with her nung last breath. Yeah. And I have flashes of memories with my last moments sa kanya. But most of those were hindi na siya din gaano nakasalita nun because my mom was, parang she was so weak because of chemo.
Yeah.
She couldn't afford to pee on her own
Oh my
anymore.
God.
She couldn't even talk. So, umabot siya sa point na kailangan yung sinusulat na yung mga words. Na, ganun.
Grabe, for a 5-year-old to have to go through that. But then, do you think na parang it took a toll on you, that it was really never explained to you what was going on?
It did. But I realized that it did take a toll on me. Ngayon na lang. Maybe it started when I was 20. Na parang, kasi dahil nga maaga ako naulila, there weren't really, solid people who would give clarity as to what was happening to me.
Yeah.
Walang nag-explain sa akin na, oh, ganito, ganyan na. Even, I think because they didn't know how to
To explain, yeah.
So, nung tumatanda ako, and until now, parang unti-unting lumilinaw. Like, I get to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
Okay. Kaya pala ganun.
Yeah.
Kaya pala ganun nun. Kasi siguro ngayon, mas naintindihan ko na yung buhay. Mas
Yeah.
naintindihan ko na yung appreciation of, taking care of other people.
Yeah.
Bago mo sila masaktan because of what's happening around
Yeah.
them. So, ngayon ko siya naintindihan mag-isa. And it took a toll because I didn't know how to handle my emotions properly before.
Yes.
Because nga I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And ang dami ko palang pain that I had to heal from when I was younger that I wasn't aware of. Na ngayon ko lang din talaga
Parang
nasasabi.
namamanifest siya ngayon.
Yes. Ngayon ko lang din talaga nasasabi na, okay na ako dun. I didn't even know it was there, but ngayon nakita ko na siya and I'm okay now. I'm healed from that.
Pero grabe, because that's one, okay, so that started with your mom and then with your dad. But this was a different thing because may isip ka na nun.
I was 10.
Diba? Parang may awareness ka na sa nangyayari nun. What went down with that? Like, what happened? Kasi parang 5 years apart, tama ba?
Yes, 5 years apart. This is actually a nice story to share kasi because nga naiwan ako sa dad ko, naging daddy's girl talaga ako. I would go to motorcycle rides with him. We would regularly visit my mom sa cemetery and eat with her, ganun. I would go to him to his office. Naging buntot ako ng dad ko when I lost my mom. So I lost him because of a heart attack naman. I was 10 years old. And actually, the day that my dad passed away was the birthday of my mom. It was...
Gosh, girl! Ba't parang ako naiiyak sa storya mo? Okay.
So, on that, the morning of that day, that was May 8, 2010, the plan talaga the night before was that to gather together with the sisters, yung mga sisters ko rin from my mom na sabay-sabay kami pupunta sa cemetery with food, set up kami doon.
Parang celebrate.
Mom. Yeah, we would set up kasi a picnic doon sa libingan ng mom ko. And then, nung morning na yun, oddly, when I woke up, pagtingin ko sa dad ko, kasi ang setup namin ng dad ko was there, yung queen bed, my dad, and then he also had a partner na rin, of course. And then I had a separate bed inside the room. But it was just both my dad and I inside the room. Tapos paglingon ko sa kanya, usually kasi nagkakalikot na ng motor yun at 5 a.m. So hindi mo siya makikita sa loob ng kwarto. Pero nakahiga pa siya nung time na yun. And then, paglingon ko sa kanya, sakto, everything was on cue. Tumalikod siya sa akin because my bed was here. Nung una nakaharap siya doon. Pagkaikot niyang ganun, his face was nakakunot. It was like, meron siyang, parang in pain na parang he was having a hard time with something but I couldn't understand. So, lumapit ako sa kanya. So, parang sabi ko, D, are you okay? And then, his girlfriend comes in. May dalang soft drinks. Sabi ko, ano po nangyayari? And then she explained to me that the night before, that was a Friday night, my dad already was feeling pain in his chest. And then what he did was he drank soft drinks. That's when he burped. Nawala.
So parang heartburn.
Parang heartburn. Okay. But then I think he didn't think that it was a heartburn.
That's the, what do you call it, symptom. Heartburn.
Yes. Pero he didn't think that it was a heartburn.
Heart attack.
So parang sabi niya, akala niya, ididighay niya lang ulit.
Yeah.
So he was trying, pero ayaw. Tapos ang tagal nung morning na yun, na I think it was, 5 hours na hindi siya mapakali sa pain hanggang sa tumayo na siya, lumipat na siya ng pwesto niya sa dining area, nakataob na lang siya sa table na ganun. And he didn't want us to call his kids.
because I have 3 brothers and 1 sister naman sa dad ko, ayaw niya ipaalam. The person who he wanted us to call for him to be brought to the hospital was his friend who was 30 minutes away pa. When my other brothers were just like 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Kasi yung daddy ko, na medyo namana ko rin sa kanya, may takot siya sa hospital.
Yeah.
You know, may ganun talagang
Yeah.
attitude.
May ganun talagang tao.
Siyempre, you have to consider the gastos, you have
Yes,
to consider the
oo.
fear na paano pag may nakita.
Oh, well, I think yung paano kung may nakita na, oh my God, you're gonna do all these tests. I'm not ready for this.
Ako din,
Oo,
parang,
oo.
hindi ko naman alam, okay naman ako eh. Kasi medyo I have that din.
Yeah.
So, ganun siya. Kaya ayaw niya ipaalam din sa kids niya na there was something happening. Hanggang sa, dumating na yung friend niya, fast forward to, we were bringing him out, isasakay namin siya sa car. Eh, syempre walang mapag-iiwanan sa akin kasi sumakto din na the person who he would leave me with, yung yaya ko ng time na yun, naka-day off. So, it was just us talaga. And, so nauna ako sumakay sa loob ng car namin. Yung posisyon ng pagsakay ko ay the driver, the front seat, ako yung nasa likod ng driver. Tapos, so wala pa akong katabi nun because they were locking the house.
Yeah.
And then pagsakay ng dad ko, medyo may demonstration.
Okay.
Pagsakay ng dad ko ganun, sa front seat siya, pagsakay niya ganun, nasakay na niya yung left part ng body niya, nag-freeze na siya.
Oh my
Hindi
God.
na niya naangat yung
Kabila,
right
the other half, yeah.
leg. And then he started having his stroke na. He couldn't breathe anymore and he was ganun na siya. Tapos, what was so painful and vivid in that moment was that when he started, tumirik yung eyes niya. Nung tumirik yung eyes niya, he was just looking at me. He was frozen this way and he couldn't breathe hanggang sa nagpanic na yung mga tao. And then, pinasok na yung other half ng body niya and then we rushed into the hospital. And pagdating namin sa hospital, like, isang U-turn na lang. He peed na.
Wala na.
Yun na yung sign,
That's a
di
sign.
ba, na the
Yeah,
person has
yeah,
passed away
yeah.
already. So, he was dead on arrival. But the whole time na we were on the way to the hospital, it was so clear to me that he was just looking at me and then he was crying, but then he couldn't breathe. And I remember, sorry, I remember it. Yeah, so that was how he passed away. It was also in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
Actually, both. I saw them
Yeah.
both have their last breaths. But again, hindi ko pa na-realize yung gravity of the situation yung time na yun.
Yeah.
Nawala na sila parehas.
Yes.
Because I don't understand it. Everything was so fast. And then that was when napunta na ako sa lola ko. And parang ngayon nga, iniisip ko na lang din na kinuha siya ng mom ko rin as a gift, siguro. And to be in the situation that I'm in, I don't see it sad anymore. I see it more as a strength now.
Yeah.
Because, of course, there are times where you still think, I think, na, what could have my life been like if they were
still here.
But also, hindi rin lahat may kaya ng kung ano yung buhay na meron ako ngayon. And God wouldn't put me here if He knows that I couldn't.
Yes, that's
And
true.
I see it as a gift now. I
And
see
no,
it
for
as a
someone
strength.
that's been through a lot of things as a young age, you're a very positive person. I think you saw, parang yung perspective mo of things did not shift a negative route. You chose to believe that you were put in this position for a reason.
But I used to be negative. I used to.
Well, I think it's only normal. I don't think I could handle it the way that you did.
And growing up, not understanding a lot of things, grabe yung self-sabotage ko, grabe yung self-doubt ko, I didn't have confidence. I couldn't even talk to someone this long before. Like, if yung dating Bianca na, I think before ako mag-23, because 23, 24 yung breakthrough ko, na ito na, kaya ko na humarap. Recently lang talaga. I don't think if I was invited here, I wouldn't know.
Pero may social anxiety ka, parang
Yes.
ganon.
meron pa rin. It's not even anxiety. Takot ako sa tao. And it comes from hindi dahil sa ayaw ko sa tao. Takot ako na makasakit because it comes from losing both my mom and my dad at an early age na yung reason kung bakit ako takot is kasi when I let people into my life tapos bigla silang mawala, hindi ko kaya.
Yeah.
But now, I'm more equipped to understand na it really happens. But then now, I know the tools to use, how to actually sense kung sino yung mga tao lang dapat mong
Yes.
papasukin.
I think pareho tayo in that sense that we're afraid to let people in because we're afraid to lose them.
Yes. Parang I couldn't go through the pain.
Yeah. That's I think one of the things na kanina when I was talking to you, I resonated with you in that aspect because pareho tayo, we only have maliit lang yung circle natin.
Yes.
These are the only people we trust because we're always afraid that letting people in, that means you're also allowing them to hurt you in the future.
And it's not something that you get to explain to everyone, di ba? And being in the industry, hindi naman yan para i-post mo para alam ng lahat eh. Bilang artista, syempre, and I'm sure you get this too na you get misinterpreted dahil
A
na
lot.
konti lang, maliit lang yung circle mo na sungit ka,
Baka hindi ka gusto
ayaw
ng
mo
mga
sa
tao.
ganun. And ako, parang inaccept ko na lang siya at some point kasi you also couldn't prove and explain to each and every person why eh.
Yeah.
But I think also it's why I'm excited to share also my story
Yeah.
at this point in my life na I can talk about it like this.
Yeah.
Kasi then people can also feel that if they are the same as we are, it's okay.
Yes.
You don't have to please each and everyone
We're not
because
weird.
what will hurt you is that yung mga taong gusto mo i-please, they aren't even making an effort to please you
Exactly.
back. And yun yung masakit.
Yes.
Kasi dati akala mo parang laging puso. But then you end up getting hurt and then magagalit ka sa mundo.
Tsaka parang effort kasi, na bakit kailangan kong i-explain sa'yo kung bakit ako ganitong tao
Yes.
if dapat nandun ka sa buhay ko.
Oo.
Diba dapat if we're meant to be friends or you're meant to be a part of my life, hindi mo dapat questionin kung bakit ako ganito.
Kahit ano pa yan.
Yes.
Even your flaws.
Yes.
Like, they will not question, they will not judge you for it.
Yes.
Mas pagtatawanan niyo pa nga kapag may nagawa kang mali.
Totoo,
When
totoo.
you're with the right people.
Yeah.
So, that's what I learned. And that's why I'm also more confident in, being able to share my story and to talk to new people. Grabe dati. Honestly, this scares me. And to be 10 seconds pa lang, sobrang drained out ako kahit di pa
Oh,
ako
ang exhausting, no?
Ganun ako dati.
Alam mo, may joke kami ng mga friends ko na yung social battery namin. Bago kami lumabas ng bahay, nasa 50% na. Yung pagdating mo dun sa party, wala na.
Tama.
Out ka na, diba?
Sa akin, kung merong fast charging na chargers ngayon, sa akin may fast empty. Yun lang
Power
yung
bank.
battery ko.
Oo.
Wala akong power bank.
Yes.
As in, yung recharge ko is like, let's say, a week worth for
Yes.
one event. Ganon.
That's true. Oh my God, she's us. She's us. As
Ganon,
in,
ganon.
ganyan na ganyan kami. Parang gusto mo lumabas, pero parang hindi kaya ng sistema mo makipag-socialize.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And even with, your few friends, you don't even have to go out eh. Parang
Yes.
minsan like yung video calls na wala kayong ginagawa, pero nandyan lang naman.
Yes.
Tas
Oo.
kahit wala kayong pinag-uusapan. That matters to me.
Oo, kasi
Ganun.
hindi siya masyadong ma-effort kapag kaibigan mo eh.
Yes.
Parang very natural ang conversation.
Oo.
Paglalabas ka kasi ng bahay mo, alam mo kailangan mo um-effort makipag-usap.
Oo. Tsaka mararamdaman nyo rin na pagpagod na kayo mag-usap. Okay lang, sige, pahinga tayo.
Oo.
Tapos
Tama.
usap ulit.
Tama.
Ganon.
Yes,
Ganon
tama
siguro.
yan. So, another thing that I can relate with you is you're very independent. Kanina when I was talking to you, you said you moved out of your house when you were 16.
Yes.
So what was that deciding point? Now, why did you wanna move out at such an early age? Kasi 16 is young pa ha. At that point, parang ang laking responsibility na yon to have to run your own household, pay for your own bills. What was that deciding point? Why did you wanna leave at 16?
Ngayon, honestly, it was kind of an impulsive and an explosive decision. Because syempre 16 ka,
Yes,
di ba? You're
oo.
emotional ka. Let alone, not having really solid parents and my siblings beside me to guide me
Yeah.
correctly and clearly. Pero hindi nagkulang yung lola ko and yung mga pinsan ko inside. But the reason why I chose to move out is, so the situation sa bahay ng lola ko is my lola, and then 11 kami mga apo na babae.
Oh, wow, ang dami
Yes.
mo.
Kaya kami mga napagsama-sama ng mga apo nun kasi ako, tulad ako ulila, yung iba, yung mga mommy and daddy nila ay nasa ibang bansa. And mind you, my lola took all of us when she was retired. Our lola passed away. Superwoman talaga siya.
Superwoman.
Naitawid niya kaming lahat na nakakakain kami ng 3 beses sa isang araw, na pag-aral niya kami lahat. And the values that we all have from
It turned
her.
out really well. Oh my God.
Sobrang, we couldn't even, until now, we couldn't think paano niya nagawa yun nang siya lang mag-isa.
Yeah.
So, idol talaga siya eh.
Yes.
It comes from her. And so, sa 11 na yun sa bahay niya, you would, syempre, iba-iba yung occupation namin eh. And ako, being in the industry, ako yung may pinaka-indefinite time ng pag-uwi. But my lola was very supportive kasi siya yung kasama ko mag-audition.
Yeah.
Magko-commute kami from Parañaque to Quezon City, you know, and she wants to support me in this. Awa ng Diyos, nagtuloy-tuloy kasi na din ako. I was kind of feeling bad kasi she's my lola and I want her to rest.
Oo na, kasi baka magkasakit.
I want her to not worry that much. And parang, it's not healthy. I knew it at that age for her. So, that was when I made the decision na maybe para although before I left, I really worked hard na ma-build ko yung trust niya sa akin.
Yeah.
Mama,
Kaya mo
ko
na.
Hindi ka dapat mag-alala. Mag-update ako sa'yo, ganito, ganyan. And then there were also a lot of things happening kasi nga, syempre, dahil emotional ka. Marami rin, being in a household like that, na full, marami ring stimuli.
Yes.
Na hindi mo maintindihan, you couldn't handle. So, it was, pero yun yung main reason. I didn't want my lola to keep on waiting on me.
Yes.
And ayoko na sumasama yung loob niya just because hindi niya rin ako maintindihan because I couldn't understand myself at that age, diba?
It's that age.
Yeah, it's that age where you parang...
You're very confused, you don't know what's going
Yes,
on.
yes. So it was a lot going on. Kaya I know it was an impulsive and an explosive decision. Okay, ganun. And then, so I was 16 when I did that. And
I think I'm done.
my lola
so
trusted me with my money.
I just did
And idol ko rin siya because being in the industry, it's hard to actually, yung iba it's an
schedule of
issue
half of
diba,
the nurses
between the
and
parents and the child.
Yes.
Hindi mo ibibigay
And
lang
yung
or
pera.
The
yung pera ay
supports.
nagagamit din
Or
sa iba.
nagtatrabaho ka tapos magugulat ka.
So, ayun. Thank you so
Wala.
much for watching. Wala lang. Pinanood nyo lang yung reaction ng mukha ko habang nai-stress ako dito. And listening for the podcast from
She would teach me how to do our taxes.
Artist
Talagang siya yung lahat.
The
And
Bear It
then,
All podcast by
tawag
Miss
dito,
Dani Barreto.
Up
This is
until
Miss
this
Dani
day, when I
Barreto.
go back, hindi
Yeah.
rin malinaw sa akin how I did it. So,
Ayun
again,
lang. Thank you so
it
much for
goes
watching
back
for
to
this live.
my
I
faith
hope
din na.
gumawa din kayo ng mga kung anong
I feel like
ginagawa
my
niyo dyan
mom
sa
and my
house.
dad were really my
Kasabay ko.
angels.
Next time magla-live ako
Like,
ulit
they
kapag
would-
may
they
ginagawa akong
protected me and
pinagkakabisihan,
they guided
ganun.
me. I feel like
Para
they were voices
hindi ako
in my
nagpo-phone
head
na nagpo-phone.
na hindi
You know what I
ako
mean?
aware of.
Yun lang.
Because
Thank you so much
sometimes
for
there are thoughts na parang,
watching.
gulat din ako na, wow, I thought
See you
of
sa
that.
next
Like,
live.
wow.
Oh, yeah.
Na wala namang magtuturo sa akin
Yes,
for
totoo.
me to
Si